Emma's 7th birthday arrives with morning sunshine streaming through our kitchen windows. My parents shipped their gift weeks early, insisting we save it for today. The package sits wrapped in silver paper topped with a pink bow. Emma tears through the wrapping excitedly, revealing a beautiful pink dress with delicate lace trim. She holds it up beaming, then suddenly freezes. Her small fingers trace something inside the hem. "What is this, Mommy?" she whispers. I lean closer, and my blood runs cold. I kneel beside Emma on our hardwood floor, gently taking the dress from her small hands. The morning light catches the delicate fabric as I examine what caught her attention. There, sewn into the hem with precise stitches, is a tiny pocket I would have missed entirely if not for Emma's keen eyes. "Let me see, sweetheart," I say, keeping my voice steady despite the strange unease creeping up my spine. My fingers work carefully to open the concealed pocket without damaging the dress. Inside, I feel paper. Old paper, soft with age. Emma watches with the intense curiosity only 7-year-olds possess as I extract a small, folded note. The paper yellows at the edges, and when I unfold it, my heart stops. The handwriting is unmistakable. Purple ink in the loopy cursive I practiced endlessly in 6th grade. My own childhood writing stares back at me, but these aren't my words. "If you're reading this, they finally gave you my dress. I'm so sorry for what they did to you, Cassidy. Please forgive me. Sarah." The room tilts. Sarah. My sister Sarah, whose name hasn't been spoken in our family for nearly 20 years. Sarah, who vanished when I was 13 and she was 16, leaving nothing but whispered conversations behind closed doors and my parents' tight-lipped explanations about bad choices and running away. Emma tugs at my sleeve. "Mommy, why are you crying?" I hadn't realized the tears had started. Quickly wiping them away, I pull Emma into a hug, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo while my mind races. This dress, this beautiful pink dress my parents sent for Emma's birthday, belonged to Sarah. The last time I saw it, Sarah wore it to her 12th birthday party, spinning in our backyard while our father took pictures, and our mother laughed. "Mommy's just surprised." I managed setting the note carefully on the coffee table. "This dress is very special. It belonged to someone I knew a long time ago." "Who?" Emma asks, fingering the lace trim with newfound reverence. I swallow hard. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that she has an aunt she's never met? That Grandma and Grandpa have kept secrets that span decades? That this innocent birthday gift has just shattered 20 years of careful silence? "Her name was Sarah," I say finally. She was my sister." Emma's eyes widen. "You have a sister, like how I always wanted a sister." The parallel stings. I've watched Emma play with her dolls, creating elaborate sister scenarios, begging us for a sibling we've been trying to give her. And all along, I had a sister. Have a sister? Is Sarah still out there somewhere? "Yes, baby, I had a sister, but she went away when I was young." Where did she go? The question every child would ask, and the one I never got a real answer to. My parents' story changed subtly over the years. First she ran away, then she was mixed up with the wrong crowd, then drugs were mentioned in hushed tones. By the time I was 18, the official family line was that Sarah had chosen a life that didn't include us, and we were better off accepting it. But this note tells a different story. They finally gave you my dress. Not I'm giving you my dress. They, my parents. And what they did to you, Cassidy. What did they do to me? The apology, the request for forgiveness. None of it aligns with the narrative I've been fed for 2 decades. I realize Emma is still waiting for an answer. I don't know where she went, sweetheart. But maybe this dress is her way of saying hello. Emma considers this with the seriousness children bring to important matters. Can we find her? Can we say hello back? My throat tightens. Maybe we can try. Standing up, I help Emma carefully hang the dress in her closet. She insists on putting it right in the front where she can see it. As I watch her arrange it, just so my phone buzzes on the dresser, Mom's contact photo smiles up at me. The same warm smile that's hidden 20 years of lies. "Aren't you going to answer?" Emma asks. I decline the call. "Not right now. Hey, why don't you go show Daddy your other presents while I clean up the wrapping paper, May?" She skips off and I'm left alone with the ghost of my sister's words. I pick up the note again, studying every curve of the letters. This was hidden for 20 years. My parents kept this dress knowing this note was inside and chose now to give it to Emma. Why what changed? My phone rings again. This time it's my father. I decline that too, but a text immediately follows. "Hope Emma loves the dress. It's been in storage so long we thought it deserved to see the light again." Storage. Like it was just any old dress. Like it didn't belong to the daughter they erased from our family history. The casual cruelty of it makes my stomach turn. I take photos of the note, then carefully fold it back into the pocket where it waited all these years. Whatever my parents' game is, I'm not playing by their rules anymore. Sarah reached across 20 years of silence with these few words, and I'm going to reach back. But first, I need answers, and I know exactly where to start. I wait until Mark takes Emma to the park before I make the call. Our house feels too quiet, the afternoon sun casting long shadows across the living room, where that note changed everything. My parents have called 6 more times. I've ignored them all, using the time to steady my nerves and plan my approach. When I finally dial my mother's number, she answers on the first ring. "Cassidy, we've been trying to reach you all morning. Did Emma like her special present?" Special. The word grates against my nerves. "Yes, Mom, very special, especially the note." Silence stretches between us, heavy with unspoken history. I can picture her in their kitchen, probably baking something, always baking when she's nervous. The grandfather clock they got for their 25th anniversary ticks in the background. "What note, dear?" Her voice wavers just slightly. She knows. "The note in the dress pocket. Sarah's note." I let her name hang in the air like an accusation. More silence. Then I hear her set something down. A pan, maybe metal, against granite. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie to me." My voice comes out harder than intended. "Not about this. Not anymore. I have it right here. Sarah's handwriting, her apology, her dress." "Cassidy, you're being dramatic. If there was some old note in that dress, we had no idea. It's been in storage for—" Stop. I'm pacing now, unable to sit still. Just stop. I know that dress was Sarah's. I remember her wearing it. And this note. "Mom, she says she's sorry for what you did to me." What did you do? I hear my father's voice in the background asking who she's talking to. She muffles the phone, whispers something back. When she returns, her tone has shifted from defensive to placating. "Sweetheart, you were so young when Sarah left. You don't understand the full situation." "Then explain it to me. I'm 32 years old, Mom. I have a daughter of my own. I deserve to know why my sister disappeared and why you've acted like she never existed. She made choices." "What choices? She was 16. "Exactly." The word bursts out of her, sharp and revealing. She was 16 and thought she knew everything. She wouldn't listen to reason, wouldn't accept help. We did what we thought was best for everyone, including you. I gripped the phone tighter. Best for everyone, you erased her. Do you know how that felt, to lose my sister overnight and then be told never to mention her again? We were protecting you. From what? Another pause. More whispered consultation with my father. Then she says something that makes my world tilt for the second time today. "Sarah said you'd understand when you were ready." The present tense hits me like a physical blow. Said. Not wrote, not thought. Said. "When did Sarah say that?" My voice is dangerously quiet. What I meant was, when did Sarah say that Mother... I can hear her breathing, quick and shallow. The silence stretches until it snaps. "Last month. She said it last month, all right. Are you happy now?" The phone nearly slips from my numb fingers. "Last month. My sister, the one who supposedly ran away and never looked back, spoke to my mother last month. You've been in contact with her." It's not a question. "Cassidy, how long?" It's complicated. How long? She sighs, and in that exhale, I hear 20 years of deception crumbling. 5 years. She reached out 5 years ago. 5 years. Emma was 2. I was dealing with postpartum depression, desperate for family support, crying to my mother about how I wished I had a sister to talk to. And she knew. She knew where Sarah was all along. 5 years. I repeat, sinking onto the couch. You've been talking to my sister for 5 years and never told me. She didn't want... Don't you dare blame this on her. Anger floods through me, hot and clarifying. Don't you dare. That note asks for my forgiveness. She apologizes for what you did, not what she did, what you did. We had our reasons. What reasons could possibly justify this? My father's voice comes through clearly now. Tell her we're coming over. No, I say immediately. Don't come here, not until you're ready to tell me everything, and I mean everything. Where is she? What happened? Why did you lie? Cassidy, please, let us explain in person. You had 20 years to explain. 5 years of active contact to tell me the truth. You chose to keep lying. So no, you don't get to come here and spin this however suits you. You don't understand what it was like, my mother says, desperation creeping in. The shame, the scandal, our family's reputation. Reputation. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. You threw away your daughter for reputation. We didn't throw her away. We sent her somewhere safe, somewhere she could start over without ruining her future or yours. The admission hangs between us. Sent her, not lost her, not watched her run away. Sent. Where, I demand. Where did you send her? That's not important right now. It's the only thing that's important. Where is my sister? I can't. She doesn't... It's not my place to say. Because she doesn't want contact with me, or because you don't want me to contact her. Silence again. In the background, my father argues for the phone. There's shuffling, muffled words. Then his voice comes through strong and authoritative, the voice of a man used to being obeyed. Cassidy, that's enough. Your mother is upset. We'll discuss this when everyone has calmed down. Don't talk to me like I'm still 13, Dad. You lied to me. You've been lying my entire adult life. I have a right to know. The line goes dead. He hung up on me. My own father hung up rather than tell me where my sister is. I stare at the phone, then at the note still sitting on the coffee table. Sarah's words blur through fresh tears. She's out there close enough to have monthly conversations with our mother, close enough that she knew I had a daughter, close enough to want me to have her dress, but still too far away to reach. My phone buzzes, a text from my mother. Please don't do anything rash. This situation requires delicacy. Think of Emma. Think of Emma. As if I think of anything else. As if they thought of me when they ripped my sister away and built a wall of lies between us. I text back, I'm going to find her, with or without your help. The response comes quickly. Cassidy, please, you don't know the whole story. Then tell me. No response. I wait 5 minutes, 10, 15, nothing. Fine. If they won't help me find Sarah, I'll do it myself. 20 years of lies end now. 2 hours pass in a blur of fruitless internet searches and growing frustration. Sarah's name yields too many results, none of them my sister. I've tried every combination I can think of. Her full name, maiden name, with various cities, even searches for women the right age who went to our high school. It's like she vanished completely, which I'm beginning to realize was probably intentional. Mark and Emma return from the park just as the doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see my father standing on our porch, shoulders slumped in a way I've never seen before. He looks every one of his 65 years. I'll take Emma upstairs, Mark says quietly, reading my face. He's been my rock through everything, and once again he knows exactly what I need. I wait until I hear Emma's bedroom door close before opening the front door. Dad stands there in his weekend clothes, khakis and a polo shirt that hangs looser than it used to. When did he lose weight? When did his hair go completely gray at the temples? May I come in? He asks formally like a stranger. I step aside without a word. He enters slowly, taking in our family photos lining the hallway. Emma's school pictures our wedding photo vacation snapshots. He pauses at one from last Christmas, where Emma sits on his lap by the tree. The perfect grandfather. The lying father. In the living room, he chooses Mark's recliner, leaving me the couch. The space between us feels like miles. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here," he begins. "She thinks I'm at the hardware store." More lies, how fitting. He flinches but doesn't defend himself. "You deserve the truth, all of it. Though I'm not sure you'll thank me once you know. Try me." He leans forward, elbows on knees, staring at his clasped hands. "Sarah didn't run away. We sent her away." Even though I'd already pieced this together, hearing him confirm it winds me. "Why, she was pregnant." The words drop between us like stones in still water. Pregnant. My sister was pregnant at 16. By who? Though part of me already knows this answer too. Bradley Morrison. He says the name like it tastes bitter. Tom Morrison's son. Tom Morrison. Dad's business partner for over 30 years. They built their construction company together, made their fortunes together. Their families vacationed together every summer at the lake. Bradley was 3 years older than Sarah, headed to Princeton on a lacrosse scholarship. She told us on a Tuesday. Dad continues, his voice hollow. "Your mother found her crying in the bathroom with a positive test. 3 months along already. She'd been hiding it, terrified to tell us." I think of Sarah at 16, confident, beautiful, always laughing. The big sister who taught me to braid hair and paint my nails. 3 months of carrying that secret alone. "What did you do?" "What we thought was right." He looks up then, and his eyes are red-rimmed. "God help us, we thought we were protecting everyone. The Morrisons had already put down deposits at Princeton. A teenage pregnancy would have destroyed Bradley's future. And Sarah, in our community, in our church, she would have been branded forever. So you sent her away. Your mother's sister in Oregon, Margaret. She couldn't have children of her own, was happy to take Sarah in. We told everyone Sarah had won a scholarship to a boarding school for troubled teens. Said she'd gotten mixed up with drugs, needed help we couldn't provide. And I believed you. The betrayal cuts fresh. I was 13 and I believed every word. We made sure you would. We were so careful with the stories, so consistent. We even had fake brochures from the school to show people who asked. The calculation of it staggers me. The props, the lies, the elaborate deception. What about the baby? Born in Oregon. A girl. Margaret was going to adopt her, raise her as her own. Papers were drawn up, everything legal and tidy. Sarah would finish high school, there could even go to college if she wanted. Start fresh where no one knew. But Sarah fought it. Every step. She didn't want to give up the baby, didn't want to stay away. She turned 18 and threatened to come home with her daughter, tell everyone the truth. Good for her. I thought so too, he admits quietly. Part of me was proud of her fighting spirit, but your mother and Tom Morrison, they panicked. The scandal would have ruined both families. The business would have suffered. Bradley was doing well at Princeton, had a girlfriend from a good family. They couldn't let Sarah destroy all that. So what did you do? Though I'm dreading the answer. We negotiated. Sarah could keep her daughter, but she had to stay away. We'd provide financial support, help her build a life, but she couldn't come home. Couldn't contact you. If she tried, we'd cut off all support and use Bradley's family lawyers to establish that she was an unfit mother. You threatened to take her baby. The Morrisons did. We went along with it. His voice breaks. I've regretted it every day since. But not enough to tell me the truth. How could I explain to my 13-year-old that we'd chosen reputation over family, that we'd sent her sister away for the crime of being young and in love? By the time you were old enough to understand, the lie had become our reality. And 5 years ago, when she contacted you again, he looked surprised. Your mother told you. She slipped. Said Sarah mentioned something last month. I pushed until she admitted they'd been in contact for 5 years. Sarah found us on social media, saw pictures of Emma. She just wanted to know about you, about her niece. Your mother was terrified you'd never forgive us if you knew, so she made Sarah promise not to contact you directly. And Sarah agreed. She had her own family by then, a daughter in college, a career. She didn't want to disrupt your life, but she asked about you constantly. Your mother would visit her show, her pictures, tell her stories. Visit her where? He hesitates, then seems to decide I've come too far to be denied this final piece. Springfield. She lives in Springfield, 2 hours away. Has been there for 10 years. 2 hours. My sister has been 2 hours away for a decade. Close enough for day trips. Close enough that we've probably been in the same stores, same restaurants without knowing. What's her last name now? Still Coleman. She never married. Raised Grace on her own. Grace. My niece's name is Grace. Dad, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. He nods, looking older than ever. Did you ever fight for her? Did you ever once stand up to Mom and the Morrisons and say this was wrong? The silence stretches long before he answers. Once. When Grace was 3. I told your mother I was done with the lies that we needed to reunite our family. She said if I contacted Sarah, she'd leave me and make sure I never saw you or Emma again. So you chose. I chose the daughter I could keep over the one I'd already lost. I'm not proud of it. And now I'm 65 years old and I've lost them both. You can barely look at me and Sarah. Sarah is polite when your mother visits, but she'll never forgive me. How could she? He stands slowly, joints protesting. I should go. Your mother will wonder where I am. Dad, he turns at the door, does Bradley know about Grace? The Morrisons told him she miscarried. He went on with his life, married that Princeton girlfriend. They have 3 kids now. Another lie, another life built on deception. After he leaves, I sit in the gathering darkness until Mark comes down. I heard most of it, he admits, wrapping his arms around me. These walls are thin. My sister lives in Springfield. She has a daughter. I'm an aunt. So what do we do? I look up at him, grateful beyond words for that we. We go to Springfield. We find Sarah. We end this. When? Tomorrow. I'll call in sick. You can work from home. We'll take Emma. She should meet her aunt. Your parents won't like it. My parents don't get a vote anymore. He kisses the top of my head. I'll get the car serviced tonight. We leave after breakfast. 20 years of lies end tomorrow. I just hope Sarah wants them to end too. I barely sleep, spending most of the night on my laptop searching for Sarah Coleman in Springfield. The city has over 150,000 people, but I refuse to be discouraged. By 3 a.m, I've found 17 possible matches, none with photos clear enough to be certain. Mark finds me at the kitchen table at dawn, surrounded by printed pages and empty coffee cups. Find anything. He pours himself coffee already dressed for our impromptu road trip. Maybe. There's a Sarah Coleman who works at St. Mary's Hospital. The age is right. And I turn the laptop toward him. She's a pediatric nurse. That seems significant. Dad said she fought to keep Grace threatened to come home with her. Someone who fights that hard for her child might choose a career helping other people's children. It's worth checking out. He squeezes my shoulder. We'll find her, Cass, even if we have to knock on every door in Springfield. Emma bounces into the kitchen an hour later, excited about our surprise adventure. We've told her we're visiting someone special, leaving the details vague until we know if Sarah even wants to see us. The 2-hour drive feels both endless and too quick. Emma chatters from the back seat about school, her birthday party, the pink dress that started everything. I've brought the dress with us, carefully folded in a gift bag. It seems right that it should go home to Sarah. Springfield rises before us all, glass and concrete, and possibility. St. Mary's Hospital dominates the medical district, its parking garage, full even on a Saturday morning. Should we go in? Mark asks, pulling into a visitor space. I can't just walk into her workplace, if it's even her. I stare at the hospital entrance, paralyzed by the magnitude of this moment. Maybe we should... Look, Mommy, it's the lady from your picture. I spin toward Emma, who's pointing at a woman crossing the parking lot. My heart stops. Even 20 years older, even in purple scrubs with her hair pulled back, I know that walk, that tilt of her head, that way of fishing in her purse for keys while moving. Sarah, I breathe. Mark is already unbuckling his seatbelt. Go, we'll catch up. I'm out of the car before I can second-guess myself jogging across the asphalt. Sarah. She turns at her name keys in hand. Our eyes meet across 20 feet and 20 years. Her face cycles through confusion, recognition, and shock in the space of a heartbeat. Cassidy. My name comes out as barely a whisper. I stop 3 feet away, suddenly uncertain. What do you say to the sister stolen from your life? How do you bridge 2 decades of lies with words? Sarah solves it by dropping her purse and pulling me into a fierce hug. We're both crying before either of us speaks again, standing in a hospital parking lot, holding on like we're 13 and 16 again. How... She pulls back to study my face, hands cupping my cheeks. How are you here? The dress. You left a note in the dress. Her face transforms with understanding. They actually gave it to you. I wasn't sure they would. To Emma, my daughter, for her birthday. I know about Emma. Her smile is watery but real. Mom shows me pictures. She's beautiful, Cassidy. Looks just like you did at that age. The casual mention of our mother visiting stings, but I push it aside. She's here, in the car with my husband. Would you like to meet them? God, yes. She wipes her eyes, laughing at the mascara smudges on her hands. I'm a mess. I just finished a 12-hour shift. Can you give me an hour? There's someone I need you to meet, too. Grace. Sarah's eyes widen. You know about Grace? Dad told me yesterday. Told me everything. Her expression hardens. Did he tell you about the lawyers? The threats? The choice between keeping my daughter or ever seeing you again? He told me. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. They said you ran away, that you were on drugs that you didn't want. Stop. She grips my hands. None of that was your fault. You were a kid. They made sure you'd believe them. I never blamed you, Cassidy. Never. Mark approaches with Emma, who's watching us with curious eyes. Sarah sees them and fresh tears start. This is my husband, Mark, I manage. And this is Emma. Sarah crouches to Emma's level. Hi, Emma. I'm your Aunt Sarah. The one who had the pretty dress. That's me. Sarah's voice wobbles. Did you like it? It's beautiful. Mommy says it was yours when you were little. It was, and now it's yours. She looks up at me. If that's okay. Actually, I retrieved the bag from the car. We brought it. Thought maybe you'd want it back. Sarah peeks inside, then pushes it gently back. It belongs with Emma now. That's how it should be. She stands, checking her watch. Listen, can you follow me? Grace doesn't know I'm working today. I picked up an extra shift. She'll be at our house studying. She's pre-med at the university. She's 19. I remember Dad's timeline. 20 next month. Pride fills Sarah's voice. Brilliant, beautiful, and stubborn as they come. Wonder where she gets that. We follow Sarah's sedan through Springfield streets to a neighborhood of older homes with big yards and mature trees. She pulls into the driveway of a 2-story colonial with green shutters and a porch swing. Garden beds overflow with spring flowers. You did this. I recognize her touch in every carefully chosen plant. Gardening saves on therapy. She says it lightly, but I hear the years of pain underneath. Come on, time to expand this family reunion. She uses her key quietly. Grace you home, sweetheart. In the kitchen, a young voice calls back. I thought you were working. Got off early, and I brought some people I'd like you to meet. We follow Sarah through a home that's lived in and loved. Photos cover every surface. Grace at various ages, Sarah in her nursing scrubs, the two of them on vacations and holidays. A life built without us, but full nonetheless. In the kitchen, a young woman sits at the table surrounded by textbooks and highlighters. When she looks up, I gasp. It's like looking at Emma in 12 years. The same eyes, the same nose, even the same way of tucking hair behind her ear. Grace, Sarah says carefully, this is my sister Cassidy, your aunt. Grace's highlighting stops mid-word. She looks between us, understanding dawning. The one from the letters. Letters. I look at Sarah, who shakes her head slightly. I'll explain later, she mouths. Grace is on her feet now, nervous energy radiating. I have something for you. Wait here. She disappears upstairs, returning with an old shoebox held like treasure. Mom kept these in her closet. I found them when I was 14 looking for Christmas presents. She hands me the box with shaking hands. She wrote to you. For years. Inside are dozens of letters, addressed to me at our childhood home. Some stamped "Return to Sender," others marked "Refused," many unopened, all in Sarah's handwriting spanning years. Oh, Sarah. My legs won't hold me. I sink into a kitchen chair, overwhelmed. I never stopped trying, Sarah says quietly. Even when they threatened lawyers, even when they said you didn't want contact, I kept writing, kept hoping. Emma, who's been uncharacteristically quiet, pipes up. Why didn't the mailman bring them to our house? Because my parents made sure they wouldn't, I say throat tight. They kept us apart on purpose. That's mean, Emma declares with 7-year-old certainty. Yes, Sarah agrees, it was. Grace clears her throat. There's something else you should know. Grandma and Grandpa, your parents, they've been visiting me since I was 5. The room goes still. I look at Sarah, who seems as shocked as I am. What? Sarah's voice is sharp. Grace, what are you talking about? I have videos, pictures. Grace looks between us, realizing she's dropped a bomb. They said you knew. They said it was okay. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. Your father said he told you about Springfield. Please don't do anything rash. Too late, Mother. 20 years too late. I stare at Grace's revelation while Sarah processes this new betrayal. Our parents had been visiting Grace, secretly playing grandparents to one grandchild while maintaining distance with Emma. The hypocrisy burns through me like acid. Show me, Sarah says to Grace, her voice carefully controlled. Show me these pictures. Grace retrieves her laptop fingers, flying across the keyboard. Within moments, she's pulled up a folder labeled Family Photos. The screen fills with images that make my stomach churn. There's my mother pushing a young Grace on a swing, my father teaching her to ride a bike, birthday parties with candles and presents, Christmas mornings in pajamas. This was my 5th birthday. Grace points to a photo. They brought me a dollhouse, said they were friends of yours who wanted to make sure I had nice things. Sarah's knuckles are white where she grips the table. Friends. They said they were friends. When did you find out who they really were? I ask Grace. Not until I was 12. I saw a photo at their house when they took me school shopping. You and Mom as kids. I recognized Mom immediately and put it together. They took you shopping. Sarah's voice rises. How often did they visit? Grace looks uncomfortable now, realizing the depth of deception she's uncovering. Every month or so, more during school breaks, they came to my science fair presentations, my piano recitals. Every word is a knife. They attended Grace's recitals while missing Emma's dance performances due to previous commitments. They were grandparents to the hidden grandchild while keeping the acknowledged one at arm's length. Mark's hand finds my shoulder, grounding me. Emma has wandered to the window, distracted by a bird feeder, thankfully oblivious to the adult drama unfolding. I need to think, Sarah says, suddenly standing. I need, 20 years of lies, and I'm still finding new ones. Sarah, I start, but she waves me off. No, it's not your fault. It's never been your fault. Give me a minute. She steps onto the back deck, leaving Grace, Mark, and me in awkward silence. Grace fidgets with her highlighter, clearly distressed. I didn't know it was wrong, she says quietly. They seem so nice. Told me stories about Mom when she was young. brought me books for school. You thought they were being loving grandparents. I finish, because that's what they should have been, to both you and Emma, openly, honestly, without all these secrets. They talked about you sometimes, Grace adds, showed me pictures of Emma, said you were very busy with your own life. Busy. The word tastes bitter. Not that they'd threatened your mother to keep us apart, not that they'd been lying to me for decades. My phone rings. Mom again. This time I answer, putting it on speaker so Mark can hear. Cassidy, where are you? Her voice is strained. You know exactly where I am. You had no right to ambush Sarah like this. We had an arrangement. An arrangement? Is that what you call it? Tell me, Mom, when were you planning to mention that you've been playing grandmother to Grace while lying to my face? Silence. Then defensively, that's different. Grace needed us. Emma needed grandparents who didn't keep half their family secret. Lower your voice, you're being hysterical. I'm being hysterical. I laugh sharp and bitter. You've been living a double life for 20 years and I'm hysterical. We did what we thought was best. Stop saying that. Stop hiding behind good intentions when every choice you made was about protecting yourself. Sarah returns from the deck, eyes red but determined. She holds out her hand for my phone. Janet. She uses our mother's given name, not Mom. It's Sarah. We need to talk, in person, today. Sarah, darling, I don't think... Today, Janet, you and Robert, my house, 2 hours. And if you're not here, Cassidy and I will come to you. Your choice if you want your neighbors watching that conversation. She hangs up before Mom can respond and hands me back my phone. 20 years of letting them control the narrative, she says. No more. We're done playing by their rules. What about Tom Morrison, I ask. Bradley. Do they know about Grace? The Morrisons know she exists, Sarah confirms. They've been sending checks, guilt money to keep us quiet and distant. Bradley thinks I miscarried. Another convenient lie his parents told. Jesus, Mark mutters. It's the first time I've heard him curse. Grace closes her laptop shoulders straight with decision. I want to meet them all. My father, his family, everyone. I have a right to know where I come from. Sarah cups her daughter's face gently. Are you sure it won't be easy? The Morrisons value their image above everything. Like my grandparents. Grace's smile is sharp. I'm pre-med at 20, Mom. I volunteer at the free clinic. I speak 3 languages. Let them try to be ashamed of me. Pride and pain wore in Sarah's expression. You've never been anything to be ashamed of. Not for 1 second. Can I meet Emma properly now? Grace asks, looking toward my daughter by the window. I've wanted a cousin my whole life. The next hour passes in a blur. Grace and Emma bond instantly, the 12-year age gap, meaningless in the face of shared DNA and curiosity. Grace shows Emma her room, her textbooks, her collection of pressed flowers that mirrors Emma's own nature collection. Watching them together, I see Sarah and myself echoed in their easy rapport. She's wonderful, I tell Sarah as we watch from the doorway. You did an amazing job. Alone, Sarah adds quietly. I did it alone because our parents made sure of it. I'm sorry. God, Sarah, I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing for their choices. She turns to face me fully. You were a victim too. They stole 20 years from both of us. What do we do now? Now we take back our story, our family, our truth. She glances at her watch. Starting in about 90 minutes when our parents walk through that door. They'll have excuses, justifications, they always do. Let them try. Sarah's smile is fierce. I've had 20 years to prepare for this conversation. A car door slams outside. We both freeze, but it's just a neighbor. The tension breaks into nervous laughter. Look at us, Sarah says, jumping at car doors like we're still scared teenagers. Aren't we part of us? I think of the 13-year-old who lost her sister, the 16-year-old who lost her family. They froze us in time with their lies. Then it's time to thaw. Sarah links her arm through mine, a gesture so familiar it aches. Together this time. Mark appears in the hallway. I hate to interrupt, but there's a car pulling up. Town car, looks expensive. Sarah and I exchange glances. Our parents don't drive town cars, which means the Morrisons. Sarah breathes. Someone told them we found each other. Through the front window, I watch Tom Morrison emerge from the back seat, phone pressed to his ear. He looks older, but still commands attention in his tailored suit. The driver opens the other door and Bradley steps out. "Is that him?" I ask, though I already know. He looks like an older, softer version of the golden boy who dated my sister. Success has padded his features, but the Morrison jawline remains unmistakable. "Mom." Grace appears at the top of the stairs, Emma beside her. "Who's here?" Sarah squares her shoulders. "Your father, sweetheart. Looks like our family reunion just got more complicated." The doorbell rings. We all stare at it like it might explode. "Should we answer?" Mark asks. "We could pretend we're not home," I suggest weakly. "No." Grace descends the stairs with determined steps. "No more hiding. No more pretending. They came here to our house. They can face what they left behind." She reaches for the door handle, and I see Sarah in her spine, steel in her smile. 20 years of Morrison money didn't buy their way out of this reckoning. Grace opens the door. "Hello, you must be my father." Bradley Morrison stands frozen on the doorstep, his father's confident voice dying mid-sentence on the phone call. His eyes track from Grace's face to Sarah, visible behind her, then back to Grace. The color drains from his carefully tanned face. He manages. "Bradley." Tom Morrison recovers first, ending his call with a sharp tap. "We should go. This is clearly a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Grace's voice could cut glass. "Is that what you call abandoning a pregnant 16-year-old? A misunderstanding?" "You told me she miscarried." Bradley hasn't moved from the doorway, still staring at Grace like she's a ghost, which in a way she is, the ghost of the child he was told died 20 years ago. Inside. Sarah's voice brooks no argument. "All of you, we're not having this conversation where the neighbors can watch." The Morrisons enter reluctantly, Tom's eyes scanning the room like he's looking for exits or advantages. They follow us to the living room where Bradley sinks into a chair while Tom remains standing, positioned like he's ready to flee. "Sarah," Tom nods curtly, "you're looking well." 20 years of no contact and that's your opening. Sarah laughs, but there's no humor in it. "Sit down, Tom, you're going to be here a while." "I don't think—" "Sit." This from Grace, who's inherited more than her mother's eyes. "You owe us that much." Tom sits. Bradley hasn't stopped staring at Grace, his mouth opening and closing without sound. "She has my mother's eyes," he finally whispers. "She has her own eyes," Sarah corrects sharply. Though yes, the Morrison genes are unfortunately apparent. When... Bradley shakes his head. "They said you lost the baby. My parents said..." "Your parents lied." I find my voice anger overcoming uncertainty, just like ours did. Convenient how that worked out for everyone except Sarah and Grace. Cassidy. Tom notices me for the first time. "What are you doing here?" "Meeting my sister, the one our parents told me ran away, the one your family helped exile." We didn't." He looks to his son. "Bradley needed to focus on his future. You were so young." "I was 16, Sarah interrupts, "scared, pregnant, and in love with someone who let his daddy ship me off like an inconvenience." "I didn't know," Bradley's voice cracks. "God, Sarah, I didn't know. They told me you'd gone to stay with relatives, that you'd decided to terminate, that it was your choice to cut contact. And you never questioned it, never tried to call, never wondered why I disappeared overnight. They said you needed space, that contacting you would only hurt you more." His eyes plead for understanding. "I was 19. I believed them." "You were relieved." Sarah's voice is steady, devastating. "Admit it. You were relieved when they told you the problem was gone." Bradley's silence is answer enough. Mark clears his throat. I'm going to take Emma to the backyard. She doesn't need to hear this. I'll go too, Grace offers, but Sarah catches her hand. No, you stay. You've been the secret long enough. They should have to look at you while we do this. Tom's phone buzzes. He glances at it, then at me. Your parents are 5 minutes out. You called them. Sarah's voice rises. Janet called me. Said there was an emergency. An emergency? Sarah laughs bitterly. Yes, heaven forbid the truth come out. That would be a real emergency. You have to understand. Tom leans forward using what I recognize as his business voice. 20 years ago, things were different. The scandal would have destroyed both families. We did what seemed best. You did what was easiest, Grace interjects. For you, not for my mother, not for me. You turned out fine. Tom gestures around the room. Look at this life Sarah built. College-bound daughter, successful career. Despite you, not because of you. Sarah's knuckles are white. Do you know how hard it was, single mother at 17, no family support, starting over in a strange city? We sent money. Guilt money, hush money, blood money. Sarah spits each word, with strings attached. Stay away, stay quiet, pretend you don't exist. Mom kept every check, Grace adds quietly. Never cashed a single one. We have 20 years of Morrison guilt sitting in a safety deposit box. This clearly surprises both Morrison men. Tom recovers first. That was foolish. That money could have helped. We didn't want your help. Sarah stands pacing to the window. We wanted family. Grace deserved grandparents, a father, and aunt. Instead, she got shadows and secrets and lies. I want a paternity test, Bradley says suddenly. The room goes silent. Sarah turns slowly, dangerously. Excuse me. I'm not saying... 20 years, Sarah. I need to be sure. Grace stands pulling papers from a folder on the side table. I realize she came prepared for this confrontation. Filed when I turned 18. She says, handing Bradley the documents. Legal paternity established through court order. Congratulations, Dad, it's a girl. Bradley's hands shake as he reads. Tom tries to look over his shoulder, but Bradley angles away. You've known for 2 years, Bradley says. You could have contacted me. With what, hi, I'm the daughter you thought died. Want to grab coffee? Grace's composure cracks slightly. You never looked for us, never questioned the story. Why would I think you'd want me now? The front door opens before Bradley can answer. My parents enter without knocking their assumption of welcome, just another small betrayal in an ocean of them. Cassidy Marie Coleman. My mother's voice fills the foyer. You will not disrupt 20 years of careful... She stops dead, seeing the Morrisons. The blood drains from her face as she takes in the scene. Both families, both sisters, the granddaughter she's been secretly visiting, and the one she's kept at arm's length, all in one room. Hello, Mother, I say coldly. Father, so nice of you to join our family reunion. My father looks between Tom and Bradley, clearly trying to assess allies and damage. Tom, we should speak privately. No. Sarah's voice cuts through. No more private meetings, no more backdoor deals, no more managed narratives. We're done with that. Sarah, sweetheart. My mother tries her caring voice. You're upset. Let's all calm down. Don't. Sarah's fury is ice cold. Don't you dare sweetheart me. Not after what you've done. What we've done? My mother's indignation rises. We protected you, both of you. Do you think life would have been better with a teen pregnancy scandal? Do you think Cassidy would have had the same opportunities with a sister who was the town pariah? I would have had a sister, I shout, surprising everyone, including myself. That would have been better than anything. You don't understand what it was like, my father interjects. The judgment, the shame. Your shame, Sarah corrects. Your judgment. You cared more about what strangers thought than your own daughters. That's not fair. Fair. Sarah pulls out a thick envelope from a drawer. Let me tell you about fair. She dumps the contents on the coffee table. Letters spill out. Dozens of them, all addressed to me. Every birthday, every Christmas, every time I missed you so much I couldn't breathe. She spreads them out with shaking hands. Return to sender. Refused. Unopened. You threatened me with lawyers. Sarah's voice breaks. Said you'd prove I was unfit. Take Grace away. Destroy the life I'd built. We never would have, my mother starts. Janet, Tom Morrison's voice is warning. Careful. And suddenly I understand. The Morrisons weren't just protecting Bradley, they were protecting something bigger. What did you have on them? I asked Tom. What leverage did you use to make sure they'd keep Sarah away? Silence stretches until my father breaks. The business. Tom held the financing. One word from him and we'd have lost everything. So you traded Sarah for job security. The disgust in my voice makes him flinch. It wasn't like that. Then tell me what it was like. I'm standing now, 20 years of grief and rage erupting. Tell me how you justified lying to me every single day. Tell me how you looked at Emma and didn't see the cousin she should have known. Tell me how you visited Grace in secret while pretending Sarah was gone. That last part clearly shocks the Morrisons. Bradley looks at my parents with new disgust. You've been seeing Grace. She needed grandparents. My mother defends weakly. But Emma didn't need an aunt. Sarah's voice is deadly quiet. Grace didn't need her whole family. This is exactly why we kept you apart, Tom says dismissively. Look at this chaos, this drama. We prevented this for 20 years. You prevented healing for 20 years. Grace speaks up. You prevented love, connection, truth. You prevented my mother from having her family and my aunt from knowing we existed. And for what? I ask. Your reputation, your business. Was it worth it? Nobody answers. In the silence, I hear Emma's laughter from the backyard, Mark's steady voice responding. Life going on while we excavate 20 years of lies. I want to know everything, I say finally. Every lie, every threat, every choice. I want to hear you admit what you did to us. And then, my mother asks, then we decide if you get to be part of our lives going forward. I look at Sarah, who nods agreement. Our real lives. No more secrets. No more separate relationships. No more lies. That's not your decision alone, Tom protests. Actually, it is. Grace pulls out her phone. See, I recorded this whole conversation. Every admission, every justification, every horrible truth. So you can either work with us to fix this, or I can share how the Morrison and Coleman families conspired to destroy a teenage mother and keep sisters apart for 2 decades. You wouldn't, Tom says, but uncertainty creeps into his voice. Try me. Grace is pure steel. I've got nothing to lose. You made sure of that 20 years ago. The balance of power has shifted. For the first time in 20 years, Sarah and I hold the cards. The question is, what do we do with them? The standoff stretches until Bradley breaks it. He's been staring at the paternity papers, then at Grace, then back again. When he finally speaks, his voice is hoarse. Princeton, you're going to Princeton. MIT, actually, Grace corrects. Early admission, pre-med. MIT. He laughs short and sharp. Of course, Sarah was always smarter than me. Sarah corrects. I'm still here, Bradley, still smart, still angry, still the girl you claim to love. I did love you. The words fall into the room like stones. God help me, I did. But I was 19 and terrified, and when they said you'd lost the baby, part of me was relieved, Sarah finishes. I know, I've always known. Grace watches this exchange with clinical detachment like she's studying specimens under a microscope. Did you ever think about me? The baby you thought died? Every day. Bradley meets her eyes. Every day. When my wife had our first son, I couldn't stop thinking about the child I'd lost. When he turned 5, I wondered. 10. 15. I carried a ghost. While I carried the reality, Sarah says flatly. I need some air. Grace stands abruptly. This is a lot. I'll come with you, I offer, but she shakes her head. Actually, Cassidy, could I show you something upstairs? I follow her, grateful for the escape from the suffocating tension below. Her room is organized chaos, textbooks, medical journals, but also fairy lights and band posters. A normal 20-year-old space hiding an extraordinary story. Grace goes straight to her closet, pulling out a battered shoebox. I told you Mom kept letters for you, but that's not all she kept. Inside are photographs. Baby pictures, toddler years, school photos. But underneath those older ones, Sarah and me as children. Our family before the break. Pictures I didn't even remember existed. She saved everything she could before they sent her away, Grace explains. Look at this one. It's my 13th birthday, 2 weeks before Sarah disappeared. We're laughing at something off camera, her arm around me, my head on her shoulder. The last photo of us together. She talked about you constantly when I was growing up. Aunt Cassidy, who loved butterflies, who was going to be a writer, who made the best blanket forts. Grace's voice catches. I knew you before I knew you were real. She remembered the butterflies. I touched the photo gently. I'd collected them obsessively that year, convinced I'd be an entomologist. Everything. She remembered everything. Grace pulls out more photos. And these are ones Grandma and Grandpa brought, of you and Emma. The betrayal hits fresh. They'd shared my life with Grace while denying me hers. Photos of Emma's first steps, first day of school dance recitals, my wedding, Mark, our life parceled out in secret glimpses. I'm sorry, Grace says quietly. I know how this looks, but I want you to understand. They were all I had of you. Mom wouldn't let me contact you directly, said it would only hurt you to know the truth. She was protecting you from them. Maybe. Or maybe she was just scared. Grace sits on her bed, suddenly looking younger. Do you know what it's like growing up as someone's secret? Knowing your own existence is a shame to half your family. No, I admit. But I know what it's like to have half your family erased. To be told your sister chose to leave and never look back. To blame yourself for not being enough to make her stay. She wanted to stay. She fought to stay. Grace returns to the box, pulling out a legal document. This is from when I was 3, custody papers. Your parents tried to take me. I read in growing horror. My parents, with Morrison backing, had filed for custody, claiming Sarah was an unfit mother. Too young, too unstable, too alone. The case was dropped when Sarah agreed to permanent distance. They used me as leverage, Grace says simply. Stay away from Cassidy or lose your daughter. What choice did she have? None. God, Grace, I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing for their actions. She sounds just like her mother. We have a choice now. We can let their poison keep spreading, or we can choose differently. What do you want to choose? She looks at the photos spread between us. I want to know my cousin. I want family dinners without secrets. I want to stop being hidden. Yes, the word comes out fierce. All of that, yes. A door slams downstairs. Raised voices filter up. Grace and I lock eyes. Should we? Probably, she sighs. Want to bet on who stormed out. Tom Morrison. He seems like a tactical retreat type. We head down to find I'm right. Tom's town car is pulling away, but Bradley remains. He's moved to the window, standing apart from the others who've formed distinct camps. My parents on one side, Sarah alone on the other. Tom felt his position was clear. Bradley says without turning, "The past is past. No good comes from relitigating old decisions." Easy for him to say, Sarah responds. He's not the one who lived with those decisions. What do you want from me, Sarah? Bradley turns, looking older than his 40 years. I can't undo the past. I can't give Grace her childhood back. I can't unmake the choices we all made. You could start by acknowledging they were wrong. Grace enters the room with quiet authority. That trading your comfort for our exile was wrong. Bradley flinches. My parents shift uncomfortably. The truth sits heavy between us all. It was wrong. The admission comes from an unexpected source, my mother. We were wrong. I see that now, seeing you girls together, seeing what we stole from you. Janet. My father protests, but she waves him off. No, Robert. Enough. Look at them. Look at what we broke. Tears run down her carefully made-up face. I told myself we were protecting everyone, but we were protecting ourselves, our reputation, our standing. Mom, I don't know how to finish. 20 years of anger wars with the pain in her voice. I lost both my daughters that day, she continues. Sent one away, lied to the other. And for what? So the neighbors wouldn't gossip, so the church ladies wouldn't whisper. The business, my father tries. Damn the business. The profanity shocks everyone. My mother never curses. We chose money over our children, comfort over courage. I've regretted it every day since. But not enough to fix it, Sarah points out coldly. I tried. When Grace was 5, I tried. I went to Tom, begged him to let us reunite our family. He said the contracts were ironclad, said he'd destroy Robert's business, our savings, everything. So you visited Grace in secret instead, I say. It was all I could do, all he'd allow. She looks at Grace with naked longing. She was so beautiful, so smart, so much like both of you. I couldn't stay away. But you could keep lying to me. What would you have done? She asks desperately. If I'd told you when Emma was 2, when we were barely surviving financially, when Tom Morrison held our future hostage, what would you have done? I'd have chosen my sister. The answer comes without thought. I'd have chosen truth over comfort, family over money, love over fear. Easy to say now. No. Mark's voice from the doorway makes everyone turn. Emma bounces past him, oblivious to the tension. Not easy to say, easy to know. Cassidy would always choose family. It's who she is, who you raised her to be, ironically enough. Emma spots Grace and lights up. Are you coming outside? We found a really cool bug. The normalcy of it breaks something in the room. Grace looks to her mother, who nods. Sure, Emma. Show me your bug. She takes Emma's hand, then pauses. Uncle Mark. Maybe you could come too. I think the adults need to finish talking. After they leave, the 5 of us stand in uncomfortable formation. Bradley breaks first. I want to know her. Grace. If she'll let me. If Sarah will let me. That's not my decision, Sarah says carefully. Grace is an adult. But Bradley, understand. You can't halfway this. No more secrets. No more hiding. If you're in her life, you're in it fully. What about my family? My wife doesn't even know Grace exists. Then you'll tell her. Sarah's voice brooks no argument. Tonight, tomorrow, soon. No more lies. He nods slowly. And us, you and me. There is no us. There hasn't been for 20 years. I'm not that 16-year-old girl anymore. I know. He looks around the room, taking in the life Sarah built. You did amazing. With everything. Despite everything. Because of everything, Sarah corrects. Grace made me strong. Truth made me free, even if it took 20 years to get here. So what now? My father asks. Where do we go from here? Sarah and I exchange glances. 20 years of separation, but some communications need no words. Now I say we start over, as a family, a real one. No secrets, no separate relationships, no lies. It won't be easy, Sarah adds. 20 years of damage doesn't heal overnight. But we try. I reach for her hand, she takes it. We try because Emma and Grace deserve better, because we deserved better. Yes, my mother whispers. Yes to all of it. My father nods reluctantly. Bradley agrees. And for the first time in 20 years, our broken family takes its first step toward healing. Outside, Emma's laughter mingles with Grace's, the sound of cousins who should always have known each other, the sound of a future we're finally brave enough to build. 3 weeks pass before we attempt a full family dinner. 3 weeks of careful negotiations, painful conversations, and small steps forward. Bradley told his wife, who promptly filed for divorce. My parents started therapy. Sarah and I text daily, making up for 20 years in increments. Now we're all gathered around Sarah's dining table, an expanded family testing new boundaries. Mark carved the turkey-neutral territory we'd decided avoiding holiday traditions. Emma and Grace made place cards carefully, arranging us to minimize conflict. My parents sit at one end, the weight of their choices visible in every line of their faces. Bradley occupies the middle, still learning how to exist in this space he'd been absent from. "This is nice." My mother ventures, her voice tentative. She's different now, the Polish worn off, the certainty shaken. All of us together. "Should have happened years ago." Sarah says, not unkindly, but not letting the moment pass unmarked either. "Mom," Grace warns gently, "we're all trying, but some wounds are still raw." Emma, blissfully unaware of the undercurrents, chatters about school. "And then Mrs. Peterson said my butterfly report was the best in class, just like Mommy used to love butterflies." "You still love butterflies," Sarah says, smiling at me. "Remember your collection. You had over 200 specimens cataloged by the time I—" She trails off. "By the time she left." The words hang unspoken. "I still have them, I admit. In the attic, couldn't throw them away." "Can I see them?" Emma bounces in her seat. "Please." "Of course, sweetheart. We'll get them down this weekend." "I'll help," Grace offers. "I'm good with preservation, useful skill for pre-med." The conversation flows easier after that. Grace talks about her courses. Mark shares a funny story from work. Even Bradley contributes awkwardly but genuinely trying. We're all performing this dance of normal family dinner, pretending the last 20 years didn't happen. Then Emma innocently lights a fuse we didn't see coming. "Grandma, is Grace the girl you were with at the park last month?" She turns to my mother with bright curiosity. "You said she was your special friend." Every fork stops moving. Sarah's knuckles whiten around her knife. "What park, Emma?" I keep my voice level. "The one with the duck pond. Grandma was pushing a girl on the swings, but when I called out, she said she had to go." My mother's face drains of color. Grace looks stricken. "That was me," Grace confirms quietly. "She took me to Riverside Park, said you were shopping nearby but couldn't stop." "Last month." Sarah's voice is deadly calm. "While you were supposedly at your book club, Janet—" "I can explain." "No." Sarah stands abruptly. "No more explanations, no more excuses. You saw my daughter in secret last month, while sitting at my table, while pretending to rebuild trust." "It was already planned." My mother rushes to explain. "Grace and I have been meeting monthly for years. I didn't know how to tell her it had to stop." "Had to stop?" Grace's voice cracks. "Why would it have to stop?" The question hangs heavy. My mother looks desperately between her granddaughters. "I just meant, with everything coming out, I thought—" "You thought you'd have to choose," I finish, understanding dawning cold and clear, "between your granddaughters, like you chose between your daughters." "That's not—" "Grandma takes me places too," Emma pipes up, still not understanding the tension. "But not every month, just sometimes. When you're busy, Mommy." The inequality of it burns. Secret monthly meetings with Grace, occasional babysitting for Emma. Even in their affection, they maintained the divide. "Get out." Sarah's voice is quiet, final. "Sarah, please." "Get out." She looks at my parents with 20 years of fury. "I invited you into my home, fed you at my table, tried to forgive, and you're still lying, still keeping secrets, still treating Grace like something shameful." My father stands, pulling my mother up. "We should go." "Yes," Sarah agrees. "You should." "What about us?" Emma asks, confused, as our grandparents gather their things. "Are we leaving to—" "No, baby," I assure her. "We're staying." Bradley shifts uncomfortably. "Should I also—" "You stay," Grace says firmly. "You've been honest, at least. Awkward and 20 years late, but honest." My parents leave in silence. The door closes with the weight of finality. Emma looks around the table, sensing the shift. Why did Grandma and Grandpa leave? Because they're still learning how to tell the truth, Sarah says gently. And we can't be around them until they do. Is that why you were gone, because of not telling truth? Sarah and I exchange glances over our daughters' heads. Yes, Sarah says simply. That's exactly why. Dinner continues quieter, smaller, but somehow warmer. Bradley asks Grace about her med school plans. She explains her research interests, warming to the topic. He listens with genuine attention, asking informed questions. You know about molecular biology. Grace seems surprised. I went to Princeton, remember? He smiles wryly. Before I became another corporate suit, I actually loved science. Still read journals sometimes. Mom never mentioned that. Your mom knew me as a 19-year-old boy, not exactly my most impressive era. It's the first time he's spoken about their past without defensiveness. Sarah notices, too, her posture softening slightly. After dinner, while the girls clear plates, Bradley corners Sarah in the kitchen. I'm sorry for all of it, for being weak, for letting them handle it, for not fighting for you. We were kids, Sarah says quietly, scared kids with parents who cared more about appearances than our hearts. You fought, you kept Grace, built this life. I just let them erase it. You believed what they told you. We all did for too long. Can I... He stops, starts again. Can I be part of her life now? Really be part of it? That's up to Grace, but Bradley, she doesn't need another person who'll disappear when it's inconvenient. I won't, I swear I won't. From the dining room, we hear Emma teaching Grace a clapping game. The sound of sisterhood 20 years delayed, but not denied. Mom? Grace appears in the doorway. Emma wants to know if we can have a sleepover, all of us, like a cousin party. That's up to Aunt Cassidy. Sarah says the title's still new on her tongue. Please, Mommy. Emma bounces in behind Grace. We could watch movies and paint nails and tell stories. I look at Sarah, who nods. Of course. Our first official cousin sleepover. Can Dad stay too? Grace asks hesitantly. Just for the movie part. Bradley looks stunned. It's the first time she's called him Dad without irony or anger. If your mom's okay with it, he manages. Sarah considers, then nods. Just the movie, small steps. As we settle in the living room, Emma curled between Grace and me, Sarah, on my other side. Bradley awkward but present in the armchair, I think about my parents. Driving home to their house full of photographs, hiding half their family, 20 years of careful construction crumbling. They'll either learn to live in truth or lose us all. Their choice, finally. What movie should we watch? Grace asks. Something happy, Emma declares. With sisters. Frozen, Grace suggests. Perfect, Sarah and I say in unison, then laugh at the synchronization. As the movie starts, Emma snuggles deeper between us. This is the best day, she murmurs. I always wanted more family. Me too, baby, I whisper. Me too. Grace reaches over, taking my hand. Sarah's arm wraps around my shoulders. Bradley watches from his chair, witness to what his absence helped break and what our children are helping heal. It's not perfect. 20 years of lies don't disappear with one dinner, one movie night, one moment of connection. But it's a start. It's truth. It's family, finally. Honestly, completely. And that's enough for tonight. The movie ends with Emma fast asleep across Grace's lap. We've spent 2 hours in this bubble of normalcy pretending the cracks don't show. Bradley makes movements to leave, but Grace stops him with a look. Wait, before you go... She carefully shifts Emma to the couch cushions, tucking a blanket around her small form. There's something you should see. All of you. She retrieves her laptop from the kitchen fingers, moving with purpose across the keys. Sarah tenses beside me, clearly unaware of what's coming. When I was organizing my backup drives for college, I found old videos from when I was little. Mom had a digital camera before they were common, always ahead of the curve. Grace's voice is carefully neutral, but her hands shake slightly. I converted everything to preserve them, including this. The screen fills with a child's birthday party, streamers, balloons, a Tinkerbell cake, and there unmistakably is 5-year-old Grace, blowing out candles while my parents sing. My father lifts her onto his shoulders as she squeals with delight. My mother wipes frosting from her nose with practiced grandmotherly care. The timestamp in the corner reads March 15th, 2011. I do the math, my stomach dropping. That's 6 months after they told me you'd overdosed, that you were probably dead. Sarah makes a sound like she's been punched. On screen, little Grace opens presents while my parents beam with pride. A dollhouse, books, a dress that looks handmade. My mother's careful stitching evident in every detail. They were wonderful grandparents, Grace says quietly. Attentive, loving, present, everything grandparents should be. How long? Sarah's voice is raw. How long were they in your life? They started visiting when I was 3. Aunt Margaret told me they were old friends who wanted to help. I believed it until I was 12. 9 years. Sarah stands abruptly pacing to the window. 9 years of birthdays and Christmases and random Tuesdays. While telling Cassidy I was dead, Bradley hasn't moved, staring at the screen where my father is teaching Grace to ride the bike they'd bought her. The same pink bike Emma learned on years later. I recognize it now with sickening clarity. They'd saved it, passed it down from one granddaughter to the other, without ever explaining its history. There's more, Grace warns, clicking to another file. This video is grainier, older. A Christmas morning. Grace maybe 7 tears through wrapping paper while my parents watch indulgently. But what makes my blood freeze is the background. Their house, their living room, the tree in the same corner where Emma would later open her presents. They brought you to their home. The betrayal cuts deeper than I thought possible. Every Christmas morning until I was 10, early before you'd arrive, I thought it was because their real family had complicated schedules. We were the complication, I whisper. On screen, young Grace holds up a photo album exclaiming with delight. The camera zooms in and I see it's filled with pictures of Grace of Sarah as a baby of our family before the break. Photos I'd been told were lost in a basement flood. She gave me our history, Sarah says wonderingly, pieces I thought were gone forever. While telling me that history never existed, the words taste like ash. Should I stop? Grace asks, but we're all trapped now needing to see the full scope of deception. The next video is Grace's middle school graduation. My parents in the audience, my mother dabbing at tears as Grace gives the valedictorian speech. The same auditorium where Emma would later perform in school plays with the same grandparents in different seats, maintaining their careful compartmentalization. This is from 2 years ago. Grace clicks to the final video, my high school graduation. The video opens on my parents' car. They're talking, unaware Grace is filming from the back seat. We should tell Cassidy, my father says. Grace is graduating, heading to MIT. She has a right to know. We've discussed this. My mother's voice is sharp. Tom Morrison was very clear. The moment we reunite them is the moment he destroys everything. Maybe it's time to let him. I'm tired, Janet, tired of the lies, of the separate Christmases, of pretending half our family doesn't exist. And what about Emma? Do we destroy her life too? Her college fund is tied to the business. Her future is built on her cousin's exile. You agreed to this, Robert. 20 years ago you agreed. And I've regretted it every day since. The video cuts as they notice Grace filming, but the damage is done. They knew. They actively chose year after year to maintain the lie. 2 years ago, I repeat numbly. They could have told me 2 years ago, before Emma got more attached, before I spent 2 decades believing I'd failed my sister, Sarah finishes. I'm sorry. Grace closes the laptop. I debated showing you, but after tonight, after Grandma still tried to keep our meeting secret, you deserve to know. Don't apologize. Bradley speaks for the first time in an hour. Never apologize for the truth. That's how this all started. People thinking lies were kinder than truth. Mark enters from the kitchen where he'd been cleaning up, sensing the shift in energy. What did I miss? 20 years of evidence that my parents are sociopaths, I say flatly. He looks at the laptop at our faces and understands. How bad? They've been active grandparents to Grace while telling me Sarah was dead bad. Jesus. He sits beside me, arm around my shoulders. What do you want to do? I don't know. I look at Sarah. What do we do with this? How do we process 20 years of calculated deception? We don't, Sarah says simply. We can't. It's too big, too cruel. We just move forward without them. What about Emma? We all look at my daughter, still sleeping peacefully, unaware her world has shifted. We tell her the truth, Sarah says, age appropriately, but truth. No more lies, not even kind ones. She'll be heartbroken. She loves them. They should have thought of that. Sarah's voice is steel. Before they chose to build her love on a foundation of lies. Bradley clears his throat. I should go. This is family business. You are family, Grace says firmly. Uncomfortable, complicated family, but family. Stay. He sits back down looking lost but grateful. Can I ask something? Mark addresses Sarah. How did you do it 20 years of this? How did you not break? Sarah considers. I did break. Multiple times. But Grace needed me whole. So I glued the pieces back together, crooked and wrong sometimes, but functional. And I had Margaret. She wasn't perfect, but she was honest. She never pretended the situation was anything other than what it was, a tragedy of ego and cowardice. Is she still, I ask? She died 3 years ago. Cancer. Sarah's smile is sad. She left me her house, said every exile deserves a kingdom eventually. We sit in silence processing. On the laptop screen, the frozen frame shows my parents at Grace's graduation. They look happy, proud, everything they should have been openly. I vote we move forward, Grace says suddenly. No more looking back, no more videos, no more evidence. We know what they did. Now we decide what we do. What do you want? Sarah asks her daughter. I want my family, my whole family. Cousins and aunts and uncles and maybe even a dad who's learning to show up. She looks at Bradley, who nods shakily. I want Sunday dinners and shared holidays and no more scheduling around lies. I want that too, Emma says sleepily from the couch, startling us all. How long has she been awake? Hey, sweetheart. I move to her. How much did you hear? Grandma and Grandpa told lies, big ones, and Aunt Sarah was sad. And Grace is my cousin for real now. Are you okay? Emma considers with 7-year-old wisdom. Will Grandma and Grandpa stop lying? I don't know, baby. Then I don't want to see them until they do. Lying is wrong. You taught me that. Out of the mouths of babes. I think Emma has our answer, Sarah says. We build forward, with truth, without anyone who can't commit to that. Agreed, Mark and I say together. Agreed, Bradley adds quietly. Then it's decided, Grace pulls Emma into a hug. We're a family, a real one, finally. Finally, Sarah echoes, reaching for my hand. 20 years late, but not too late. Not for our daughters, not for us. Not for the truth that sets us all free. 2 weeks after the birthday video revelation, I'm helping Sarah sort through boxes in her basement. We've established a Saturday tradition, coffee conversation, and slowly piecing together 20 years of scattered history. Emma and Grace are upstairs baking cookies, their laughter drifting down like music. I kept everything, Sarah admits, pulling out another filing box. Every document, every letter, every scrap of paper that proved Grace existed, that I existed, just in case. In case of what? In case they tried to take her, in case I needed evidence, in case someday, she gestures between us, in case this. We work in companionable silence, sorting papers into piles, medical records, school documents, legal papers, so many legal papers. What's this? I hold up an official-looking document with multiple signatures and seals. Sarah glances over and freezes. I forgot about that. God, I actually blocked it out. She takes the papers with trembling hands. Adoption records, from when Grace was born. But you kept her. You fought to keep her. Not at first. She sinks onto a storage container. When she was born, I was 17, terrified, and completely alone except for Aunt Margaret. Our parents and the Morrisons presented a united front. Sign the papers. Give her up. Let Margaret adopt her officially. Everyone wins. But you didn't. I did. The admission hangs heavy. For 3 months I did. Margaret was Grace's legal mother while I was just the teenage niece who helped out. I study the documents more carefully. There in faded ink. Legal adoption papers. Margaret Coleman as adoptive mother. Sarah Coleman relinquishing all parental rights. And at the bottom, witness signatures that make my blood run cold. Janet Coleman, Robert Coleman, Thomas Morrison. Our parents witnessed this. They arranged it, flew to Oregon for the signing, made sure everything was ironclad. Sarah's laugh is bitter. You know what changed my mind? Grace smiled at me. Real smile, not gas. She looked right at me and smiled, and I knew I couldn't do it. Couldn't pretend she wasn't mine. So how? I gesture at the life around us, clearly built by Sarah as Grace's mother. I threatened to expose everything. Told them I'd go to their church, their country club, their business partners. Teen mom or not, I was still their daughter. The scandal would touch them too. And they caved. Not exactly. She pulls out another set of papers. We negotiated. I could have Grace back, but conditions applied. The new documents are even more shocking. A custody agreement returning Grace to Sarah, but with stipulations that read like a prison sentence. No contact with family, no return to our hometown, no public acknowledgement of Grace's parentage, and at the bottom, a financial settlement that makes my stomach turn. They paid you off. They paid me to disappear, officially. Sarah traces the numbers. $50,000 in monthly support contingent on compliance with all terms. The Morrisons put up most of it. Blood money to keep Bradley's reputation clean. You cashed it. I can't reconcile this with Grace saying Sarah kept every check. The initial payment, yes. I needed it for lawyers. She pulls out yet another file. To fight this. This document is different. Medical forms, psychiatric evaluations, a petition for custody based on mental incompetence. They tried to have you declared unfit. My voice rises with outrage. When I was 21, Grace was 3. I'd established myself in Springfield, was working, taking night classes. I made the mistake of sending you a birthday card. I never got it. I know, but they did, and it violated our agreement. So they activated their nuclear option, prove I was mentally unstable, take Grace and force the original adoption. But Margaret was on your side. Margaret was dying. Sarah's voice goes flat. Lung cancer diagnosed right after the custody threat. She had maybe 6 months. If they'd succeeded in taking Grace, she'd have gone to them. The full horror hits. Our parents would have raised your daughter. While continuing to tell you I was gone, can you imagine raising Grace in the same house where they erased me? My hands shake as I read through the psychiatric evaluation. This says you had postpartum psychosis, delusions, violent tendencies. All fabricated. Dr. Martin Reeves' golf buddy of our father's. He never even met me. Just signed whatever they put in front of him. This is fraud, criminal fraud. Which is why they backed off when I hired a real lawyer. Once I had someone willing to dig into the documentation, suddenly everyone got very quiet. Something occurs to me. Who was your lawyer? Sarah smiles for the first time since we opened the boxes. Nathan Morrison. Bradley's cousin, the one who became a civil rights attorney. Tom Morrison's nephew, the family black sheep. He saw what they were doing and couldn't stomach it. Took my case pro bono. Is he the one who told Bradley the truth? No. Her smile fades. Nathan kept my secrets. But he did suggest Bradley deserved to know Grace existed. I wasn't ready then. Maybe I should have been. I returned to the documents trying to piece together the timeline. So they backed off the custody suit, but the financial support continued. Every month, direct deposit. I never touched it after the lawyer fees. It's all sitting in an account gathering interest. Grace's blood money college fund. How much? As of last month, about $400,000. Jesus. 20 years of guilt adds up. She starts repacking the boxes. I've thought about donating it, but part of me wants Grace to have it. Let Morrison money pay for her medical degree. Seems fitting. Wait! I spot another document in the pile. What's this? Sarah looks and goes very still. That's new. The document is recent, dated just 3 years ago. It's a codicil to a will. Tom Morrison's will. How did you get this? Nathan sent it, said I should know. She reads over my shoulder. Tom updated his will when Grace turned 18. She's in it. He left her money. Not just money, a percentage of Morrison construction, equal to what Bradley's children will inherit. We stare at each other processing this. He acknowledged her, I whisper, legally, officially. But secretly, still secretly. Sarah's voice is bitter. She's listed as Grace Coleman, biological daughter of Bradley Morrison. No mention of me, like I was just an incubator. Does Bradley know? I don't think so. Nathan said Tom kept this codicil private, separate from the main will. Grace needs to see this. No. Sarah's response is immediate. Not yet. Maybe not ever. She's building a relationship with Bradley based on who he is now, not his father's money. I won't complicate that. But she has a right to know. She has a right to a father who shows up because he wants to, not because he's protecting an inheritance. Sarah's fierce protectiveness blazes. If Bradley's going to be in her life, it's as her dad, not as Tom Morrison's son. Before I can respond, footsteps thunder down the basement stairs. Emma appears, flower in her hair and excitement in her eyes. Mommy Aunt Sarah. We made cookies, and Grace taught me chemistry. Chemistry, Sarah asks smoothly, sliding the documents out of sight. She explained how baking soda makes things rise and why you need exactly the right temperature and how molecules work. Emma's enthusiasm is infectious. Did you know cooking is basically science? Grace is going to be an amazing doctor. I say meaning it. She said maybe I could be one too, or a scientist who studies butterflies, or both. You can be anything, Sarah tells her seriously. Anything you work for. Grace appears at the top of the stairs. Cookies are cooling. Also, Bradley texted. He wants to know if he can come to my MIT campus tour next week. Sarah and I exchange glances over the boxes of secrets. What did you tell him? Sarah asks carefully. That I'd like that, if it's okay with you. It's your choice, sweetheart, your relationship with him. I know, but you're my mom. Your opinion matters. Sarah climbs the stairs, leaving the boxes of betrayal behind. My opinion is that people can change, can choose to do better. Bradley's trying. That matters. Unlike Grandma and Grandpa, Emma pipes up, they're still lying. How do you know that? I ask. They called yesterday while you were at work. Daddy told them you'd call back, but I heard him say they needed to earn trust first. She pauses. What's earn trust mean? It means showing through actions, not just words, that you can be believed, Grace explains. Like how Bradley's been coming to family dinners and texting me about school. He's earning trust. Oh, Emma considers this. So Grandma and Grandpa need to do actions. Big actions, I confirm, truth actions. That sounds hard. Looking at the boxes in Sarah's basement, thinking of the 20 years of documents proving calculated cruelty, I have to agree. It does sound hard, maybe impossible. But then I watch our daughters climb the stairs together, chattering about cookies and chemistry, and I think about impossible things, like sisters finding each other after 20 years, like truth surviving decades of lies, like families rebuilding from ashes. Maybe impossible is just another word for hasn't happened yet. Coming, Sarah calls from the top of the stairs. I close the last box, leaving the past in the basement where it belongs, right behind you. The confrontation happens at their house, neutral territory we'd foolishly thought. My parents had finally agreed to meet after 3 weeks of silence, 3 weeks of declined calls and unanswered messages. The condition Sarah and I come alone, no children, no spouses, just the 4 of us and 20 years of reckoning. Their living room looks exactly as it always has. Pristine, professionally decorated cold. The family photos on the mantel mock us with their careful curation. Emma features prominently. Sarah and I exist only in pictures from before, frozen at 13 and 16 forever, the daughters they preferred to the ones we became. You look well, my mother begins, as if this is a social call. Don't. Sarah's voice cuts through pretense. We're not here for pleasantries. My father sits in his usual chair, the one that used to seem like a throne when we were children. Now he just looks diminished, a king of a crumbling kingdom. Then why are you here? He asks, still clinging to authority he no longer has. To give you a chance, I say. One chance to be part of our lives, our real lives, going forward. No more secrets, no more separate relationships, full truth with everyone. Including Emma and Grace, Sarah adds. They know each other now. They're family. You can't compartmentalize them anymore. It's not that simple, my mother protests. There are considerations. What considerations? I demand. What possible reason could you have for continuing this charade? They exchange a look I've seen 1,000 times, the silent communication of conspirators. Tell them, my father says quietly. Robert, tell them, Janet, they're right, it's time. My mother's perfectly manicured hands twist in her lap. The business. Your father's business. It's more complicated than you know. Tom Morrison, Sarah says flatly. We know he's threatened you, has held the business hostage for 20 years. Not just threatened, my father corrects. He owns 51%, has since we expanded in '95. I needed capital, he had it. Part of the deal was what? Though I'm dreading the answer. Was that Sarah's pregnancy never became public knowledge? That Bradley's reputation remained spotless? That nothing interfered with the Morrison family image? You sold your daughter for a business deal. The disgust in my voice makes him flinch. It wasn't supposed to be forever. The words burst out of him. A few years, Tom said, just until Bradley was established, then we could quietly reunite. But the years kept passing. My mother continues. Bradley graduated, got married, had children. There was always another milestone that couldn't be disrupted. And you kept choosing money over family. Sarah's voice is ice. We chose stability, my mother insists. The business employs 40 people, supports families. If Tom pulled out, then you'd have to get jobs, I say, like normal people, like Sarah did raising Grace alone at 17. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. I stand unable to sit still. Sarah works 12-hour shifts saving children's lives. I teach 3rd grade. We're not wealthy, but we're happy. We have integrity. Can you say the same? Silence stretches until my father breaks it. No, we can't. Robert, my mother gasps. Enough, Janet. He looks every one of his 70 years. They're right. We've been cowards, choosing comfort over courage, safety over our children. So what changes now? Sarah asks. Nothing. My mother's voice goes hard. Nothing changes. Because the moment we acknowledge you publicly, Sarah, the moment we bring you and Grace into our lives openly, Tom Morrison will destroy everything we've built. Let him, I say. Easy for you to say. You're not facing bankruptcy at 70. You're choosing money over family, again, still. We're choosing survival. No. Sarah stands matching my posture. You're choosing cowardice. Again, still. My father looks between us, his lost daughters standing united. What if I talked to Tom, tried to negotiate? With what? My mother's laugh is bitter. He holds all the cards, the contracts, the majority share, the secrets. What secrets? Something in her tone sends warning signals. Another loaded look between them. Show them, my father says quietly. They should know. My mother retrieves a folder from the antique secretary desk. Inside are photos that make my stomach drop. Grace at various ages with my parents. But that's not the damning part. In several, Tom Morrison is also present. Bradley, too, in some. At Grace's science fair, her middle school graduation, her 16th birthday dinner. He knew Sarah breathes. Tom knew you were seeing Grace. He arranged it, my mother admits. Said it was better to control the situation, manage the exposure, keep Grace happy and quiet. And you went along with it. What choice did we have? He threatened to tell you we'd been lying, to destroy our relationship with both of you. You destroyed that all on your own, I point out. But there's more, my father adds heavily. He pulls out a document I recognize, a will, their will. We updated this last year, before you found out about Sarah. I scan the document, anger building with each line. You left everything to Emma, nothing to Grace, nothing to Sarah, and I'm just the trustee until Emma turns 25. We couldn't acknowledge Grace legally without questions arising, my mother defends. And Sarah, we thought she was provided for. By the Morrisons' guilt money. It seemed appropriate. And me. The hurt cuts deep. Your daughter who stayed, who gave you grandchildren, who played by your rules for 20 years. I'm just a caretaker for Emma's inheritance. You have Mark. His family has money. That's not the point. I'm shouting now. I don't want your money. I want parents who choose their children over their comfort. Well, you can't have that. My mother's mask finally cracks completely. Because choosing you means losing everything. The business, the house, our retirement, everything. You already lost everything, Sarah says quietly. You lost us. You lost 20 years with Grace. You lost Emma's trust. You lost any chance at redemption. You kept your money and lost your soul. Dramatic as always. My mother sniffs, but tears track through her makeup. Honest as never, Sarah counters. Something you might try. My father stands slowly. I'll talk to Tom. Try to find a compromise. Don't bother. Sarah pulls out her phone. Grace took the bar exam last month. We all stare at her. She's pre-med, but she took the bar exam. Passed too. Said she wanted to understand the contracts that kept her hidden for 20 years. Sarah's smile is sharp. Turns out Tom's been in breach for years. The morality clauses he insisted on. They work both ways. Secret grandchildren, hidden payments, fraudulent medical documents. Grace has been building a case. She wouldn't dare, my mother gasps. She's her mother's daughter, I say with pride. Of course she would. But more importantly, Sarah continues, she doesn't have to, because we don't want anything from you anymore. Not your money, not your approval, not your conditional love. Sarah, please, my father starts. No, you made your choice. 20 years of choices, all protecting the same thing, your comfort, your image, your wealth. She heads for the door. Keep it, all of it. It's all you have left. I follow her, pausing at the threshold. You know what the saddest part is? Emma asked me yesterday if she did something wrong. If that's why Grandma and Grandpa don't visit anymore. I had to explain that some people love money more than family. She's 7 and she understood immediately. Said you must be very lonely. Cassidy, my mother's voice breaks. She's right, you know. You are lonely. You've been lonely for 20 years. You just filled the space with lies instead of love. If you walk out now, you're out of the will entirely. Both of you. I'll change it tomorrow. I look at my parents, these strangers who raised me, who taught me right from wrong while living a fundamental lie. Good. I don't want money touched by 20 years of cruelty. Give it all to Tom Morrison. You've given him everything else. Sarah waits by the car, face turned to the sun. You okay? Free. I correct. I'm free. They'll change the will. Let them. Emma and Grace have something worth more than any inheritance. What's that? Each other, truth. A family built on love instead of lies. Sarah starts the car. Think they'll ever understand what they lost. I look back at the house, the museum of a life built on secrets. Maybe, when they're alone on Christmas, when they see other grandparents with their grandchildren, when they realize their money can't buy back 20 years. Or maybe never. Or maybe never, I agree. As we drive away, I feel the weight of 20 years lifting. No more secrets to keep, no more lies to navigate, no more choosing between truth and family. Just freedom, costly, painful, necessary freedom. The call comes at midnight 2 days later, not from my parents, but from Nathan Morrison, the lawyer who'd helped Sarah 20 years ago. His voice is urgent, apologetic for the hour. Bradley's at my house. He has something you need to see. Can you and Sarah come now? Mark drives while I call Sarah. We converge at Nathan's home, a modest ranch, nothing like the Morrison estates. Bradley's car is in the driveway engine, still ticking as it cools. He hadn't planned this visit either. Nathan answers before we can knock. He looks older than his 50 years silver, threading through hair that matches Bradley's. They're in my study. Fair warning. Bradley's been drinking. Not drunk, but loosened. He found something in his father's home office. We follow him through halls lined with civil rights memorabilia and family photos pointedly absent of Tom Morrison. In the study, Bradley sits surrounded by banker boxes, Grace beside him. She'd beaten us here. I called her. Bradley explains, seeing our surprise. She deserved to know first. Know what Sarah demands. Bradley hands her a folder. Inside are receipts, contracts, correspondence, the paper trail of 20 years of payments. But it's more than we knew, more than the monthly checks Sarah never cashed. He paid them, Bradley says hollowly. My father paid yours, not just for silence, for enforcement. I read over Sarah's shoulder, nausea rising. Payments to my parents dated just months after Sarah left. Services rendered recustody arrangement. Consultation fee, family management, discretionary fund, location monitoring. They were paid to keep us apart, Sarah whispers. Actually paid. It gets worse, Grace says quietly. She hands us another document. It's a contract between our parents and Tom Morrison. In exchange for keeping Sarah away, maintaining the cover story, and providing regular updates on her location and activities, they received a steady income stream. $30,000 a year for 5 years, then $20,000 ongoing. They sold me. Sarah's voice is numb. My own parents sold their services as my jailers. Look at this clause. Nathan points to highlighted text. Contractors agree to prevent any contact between Subject A, Sarah Coleman, and Subject B, Cassidy Coleman, by any means necessary, including but not limited to mail interception, call blocking, and disinformation. Subject A and Subject B. I repeat, we weren't even people, just problems to be managed. There's a bonus structure. Bradley adds, voice slurred with emotion and whiskey. Extra payment if Sarah moved more than 500 miles away. Penalties if she came within county lines. How did you find this? Sarah asks. Dad's having surgery next week. Asked me to get some papers from his home safe. Gave me the combination. Bradley laughs bitterly. 20 years of keeping me in the dark, and he handed me the key to everything. Does he know you have this? He's sedated for pre-op tests. Won't be coherent until tomorrow afternoon. Why show us? I ask. This implicates your father in conspiracy fraud, possibly worse. Bradley looks at Grace, his daughter hidden for 20 years. Because I'm 42 years old and just learned my entire life is built on other people's pain. Because my children don't know they have a sister. Because my marriage ended over secrets I didn't even know I was keeping. Bradley, Grace reaches for him tentatively. I knew something was wrong, he continues. When you disappeared, Sarah, the way everyone acted. But I was 19 and selfish, and when they said you'd lost the baby, I was relieved. He meets Sarah's eyes. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. We were children, Sarah says, but her voice is strained. No, I was a coward, just like my father, just like yours. He pulls out another folder. This is why I really came. Inside are medical records, psychiatric evaluations, the same ones Sarah showed me, but more. A whole fabricated history of mental illness, drug abuse, prostitution, documents that would have destroyed her if released. He kept these as insurance, Bradley explains, in case Sarah ever tried to come forward, in case you ever questioned the story, Cassidy. Dr. Martin Reeves. I read the signature. Dad's golf buddy, who lost his medical license 8 years ago for insurance fraud, Nathan interjects. I've been tracking him. He's in federal prison. So these documents are worthless. Legally, yes, but the damage they could have caused. Nathan trails off. There's more, Grace speaks up. Tell them about the recordings. Bradley winces. My father recorded conversations with your parents, Cassidy. I found tapes going back 15 years. Play them, Sarah demands. Sarah, I don't think... Play them. Bradley pulls out an old cassette player, the kind that went obsolete years ago. Tom Morrison's voice fills the room, younger, but unmistakably him. The girl's getting ideas, talking about community college, bringing the baby to visit family. You need to remind her what's at stake. My mother's voice responds, We've been clear. No contact means no contact. Maybe we weren't clear enough. She sent a birthday card to Cassidy last week. Janet intercepted it, but this can't happen again. What do you want us to do? We can't control her from here. Find a way, or the payments stop and I call in Robert's business loans. Are we understood? The recording clicks off. We sit in stunned silence. That's from when Grace was 5, Sarah says faintly. I just started nursing school. Thought maybe enough time had passed. There are dozens of these, Bradley says. Planning sessions, strategy meetings, updates on your life, Sarah, reports on Grace's development, like you were some kind of experiment they were monitoring. Can we use these, I ask Nathan, legally? Recording without consent is illegal in this state, but, he smiles grimly, they're admissible in civil court if the recorded parties don't object. And somehow, I don't think your parents will want these played publicly. What about Tom? Sarah asks. My father's going to have bigger problems than these tapes. Bradley stands swaying slightly. I'm going to the FBI tomorrow. Financial fraud, conspiracy, extortion. 20 years of it all documented in his own hand. Bradley, he's your father, Grace says softly. No. He's the man who stole my father from me, who made me complicit in exile and lies, who let me believe my child died rather than risk his reputation. Bradley's voice hardens. He destroyed our family for his pride. Let him face the consequences. This will ruin you too, Nathan warns. The business, your inheritance. Good. I don't want money built on Sarah's exile and Grace's erasure. I want... He looks at Grace. I want to know my daughter, meet her properly, introduce her to her siblings, give her the father she deserved 20 years ago. That's not possible, Grace says gently. That father doesn't exist. Never did. Then I'll be the father I am now, flawed late but present, if you'll let me. Grace looks to Sarah, who nods slowly. We can try, all of us, together. I pick up one of the contracts, the weight of 20 years of deception in my hands. What do we do with all this? We make them face it, Sarah says. Every lie, every payment, every choice. We make them acknowledge what they did. And then we decide if they deserve any place in our future. And they don't, Bradley says flatly. None of them do. They had 20 years to choose differently. Every day for 20 years they chose cruelty. Emma loves them, I remind everyone. It's not that simple. Emma loves who she thought they were, Sarah corrects, just like we all did. Nathan gathers the documents carefully. I'll organize these, build a timeline. If you decide to pursue legal action— We won't, Sarah interrupts. I won't put Grace through that, won't make our pain public entertainment. But they should know we could, I add, that we have proof, that their carefully constructed lies are one press conference away from collapse. Leverage. Bradley nods approvingly. My father would appreciate the irony. We leave Nathan's with copies of everything, evidence of 2 decades of conspiracy filed in neat folders. Grace drives Bradley home. He's in no state to drive, and maybe they need the time together. Sarah and I sit in my driveway as dawn breaks. Our parents were paid to keep us apart, she says, testing the words. Literally paid. For 20 years. Every birthday I missed, every Christmas, every ordinary Tuesday. They were collecting checks for stealing that from us. How do we forgive that? Sarah looks at me, 20 years of pain and steel in her eyes. We don't. Some things are unforgivable. We just decide how to live with the truth. And how do we do that? Together, she says simply, finally honestly together. The sun rises on a new day, the first one where we know the full truth. It's uglier than we imagined, crueler than we feared, but it's ours now. And that somehow makes us stronger than all their lies combined. The text arrives while I'm teaching multiplication tables. My phone buzzes with Sarah's message, check the church bulletin online, now. I excuse myself, leaving my aide with the 3rd graders, and pull up St. Mary's website in the hallway. There it is, in elegant script over a photo of my parents in their Sunday best, celebrating 20 years of service, Robert and Janet Coleman, champions for young mothers in crisis. The irony is so thick I nearly choke. The ceremony is this Sunday, 3 days away. They're being honored for their charitable work with wayward young women, their dedication to preserving family values, their compassionate guidance for struggling mothers. Sarah calls before I can process the rage. Did you see the quote from the pastor, where her voice shakes? Janet Coleman has been a beacon of hope for young women facing difficult choices. Her wisdom and guidance have helped countless mothers find their way, while exiling their own daughter. The committee chair is Patricia Morrison, Tom's wife, Bradley's mother. Of course she is. Of course this final insult comes orchestrated by both families. What do we do, I ask, though I already know? We tell the truth publicly, finally. That evening, our makeshift war council convenes at Sarah's house. Bradley's there, sober and determined. Nathan has boxes of evidence. Grace set up a presentation on her laptop. Mark watches Emma and her siblings, Bradley's children, who just learned they have an older sister, in the playroom. The ceremony starts at 10, Grace reports. Full congregation. They're expecting 300 people. Local newspaper will cover it. Perfect audience, Sarah says grimly. You're really doing this? Nathan asks. Once it's public, there's no taking it back. Good, I say. 20 years of secrets end Sunday. We spend the next 2 days preparing. Grace creates a timeline with photos, documents, evidence. Not everything. We're not trying to destroy them, just expose them. The truth is damaging enough. Sarah practices what she'll say. I do the same. Bradley writes a statement taking responsibility for his part. Even Grace prepares words, though we all hope she won't need to speak. Saturday night, my phone rings. Mom. Cassidy, sweetheart. I know things have been difficult, but tomorrow is important to us. It would mean so much if you and Emma came. A family united in faith and service. We'll be there, I say. You will. Hope lightens her voice. Oh, darling, that's wonderful. Wear something nice. The photographer? We'll be there, I repeat and hang up. Sarah texts immediately. Did she just call you? Yes, invited us to their charade. Mine too. Suggested I was being selfish to deny them this honor. See you at church. Wouldn't miss it. Sunday arrives gray and drizzling, fitting weather for exposing decades of hypocrisy. I dress Emma carefully. Not for photos, but for truth. She knows today is important, that we're telling a big truth to lots of people. Will Grandma and Grandpa be sad? She asks as I braid her hair. Probably. But telling truth is important even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. We arrive early, but not first. Bradley's already there with his children, their confusion evident. His soon-to-be ex-wife hovers nearby, clearly reconsidering the divorce, now that she knows the full story. Sarah enters with Grace, both in professional dress that commands respect. Grace carries a folder thick with evidence. Sarah's hands are steady, but I know her tells. The slight tension in her jaw, the careful breathing. "You ready?" I ask. 20 years ready. The church fills. The Morrison clan claims their usual front pews. Business associates, country club friends, church leadership, all here to celebrate 2 decades of charitable deception. My parents arrive in their honor attire. My mother's suit cost more than Sarah made in a month as a teenage mother. My father wears the watch he bought the year after Sarah left, the year the payment started. They see us and freeze, all of us, together. Sarah, Grace, Bradley with his children. The family they fractured reunited in their sanctuary. Cassidy. My mother's voice wavers. "What's happening?" "The truth," I say simply, finally. Pastor Williams begins the service with praise for my parents' dedication. The congregation murmurs appreciation as he lists their accomplishments. The young mothers counseled the families, preserved the children saved. And now, he announces Janet Coleman would like to share a few words about their ministry. My mother approaches the podium, her prepared speech in hand. She begins reading platitudes about compassion and duty, but her voice falters when she sees Sarah stand. "I'm sorry," Sarah says clearly, walking toward the front, "but I need to correct something." The congregation shifts, confused. Pastor Williams starts to intervene, but Sarah's already at the microphone. "My name is Sarah Coleman. I'm Janet and Robert's daughter, the one they sent away 20 years ago when I was 16 and pregnant." Gasps ripple through the church. My mother grips the podium. "Sarah, please." "Please what, Mom? Please keep your secret. Please let you accept honors for helping young mothers while you exiled your own daughter." Sarah's voice carries strength forged from 2 decades of pain. "Please pretend you didn't take money to keep me away from my sister. This is neither the time nor place." Tom Morrison rises from his pew. "Sit down, Tom." Bradley's voice cuts through. "You've controlled this narrative long enough." The congregation watches tennis match style as truth volleys back and forth. Grace joins her mother at the front. "I'm Grace Coleman, the granddaughter these honorees have visited in secret while denying my existence to everyone here. The granddaughter whose father was told died 20 years ago." More gasps. Whispers rise like wind through wheat. "Stop this," my father stands. "This is a family matter." "No," I interrupt, standing too. "This is a community matter. You made it one when you accepted praise for compassion you never showed your own children." Cassidy's right. To everyone's shock, Pastor Williams speaks. "I've known the truth for 10 years. Robert and Janet came to me for counseling, burdened by guilt. I urged them to reconcile with Sarah. Instead..." He pauses, visibly struggling. "Instead, they increased their donations significantly." The revelation rocks the congregation, their spiritual leader complicit in their deception. "We have evidence," Grace announces, holding up her folder. 20 years of documents, contracts for silence, payments for keeping sisters apart, falsified medical records claiming my mother was mentally unfit. Financial records showing Tom Morrison paid my parents to maintain Sarah's exile. I add, recordings of them planning strategies to keep us separated. "This is outrageous," Patricia Morrison shrieks. "These are lies." "I have the receipts," Bradley says quietly. "From my father's own files. Every payment, every threat, every choice that prioritized reputation over family." The church erupts. Some people storm out. Others lean forward, hungry for details. A few approach Sarah with tears, apologies for believing the lies. My mother sways at the podium. We did what we thought was best. No, Sarah's voice silences the chaos. You did what was easiest, what was profitable, what protected your image. Sarah's right. My father's admission surprises everyone, including my mother. We were cowards, cruel, calculating cowards. We sold our daughter's relationship for 30 pieces of silver paid monthly by Tom Morrison. Robert! My mother and Tom Morrison protest simultaneously. Enough! My father's voice breaks. 20 years of lies, 20 years of watching Cassidy grieve her sister, of seeing Sarah's empty chair at every holiday, of sneaking visits with Grace like criminals. Enough! He turns to the congregation, shoulders bowed. Everything they've said is true. We took money to keep Sarah away. We lied to Cassidy daily. We prioritized our comfort over our children's hearts. There's no honor in that, only shame. My mother collapses into the nearest pew, her carefully constructed image in ruins. Tom Morrison pushes through the crowd, fleeing with Patricia. Others follow the mass exodus of those who can't face the truth. But some stay. Some approach Sarah and Grace with outstretched hands. Former teen mothers my parents genuinely helped who understand the pain of separation. Church members who suspected but never knew how to ask. Miss Sarah. An older woman touches Sarah's arm. I'm Dolores. Your mama counseled me when I was 17 and pregnant. She was kind then. Helped me keep my baby when my family wanted me to give him up. She looks at my mother with sorrow. I never understood how she could help me but lose you. Now I do. Fear makes us cruel sometimes. One by one, stories emerge. The good my parents did, twisted by the evil they perpetrated against their own. The complexity of humans who could show compassion to strangers while denying it to family. Pastor Williams returns to the microphone. I think we should pray for healing, for forgiveness, for the courage to face truth no matter how painful. But Sarah's not finished. Forgiveness isn't owed, it's earned. Through acknowledgement, through amends, through change. My parents have 20 years of those to make before forgiveness is even a conversation. She takes Grace's hand, then reaches for mine. But we're not here for forgiveness. We're here for freedom. The freedom that comes from truth, from refusing to carry their shame as our secret anymore. Amen, someone calls from the back, then another. Soon half the remaining congregation is affirming Sarah's words. My mother raises her tear-stained face. What do you want from us? Nothing, Sarah says simply. We want nothing from you. We have each other. We have truth. We have the family you tried to destroy. That's enough. Bradley's children tug at his hands, confused by the drama but certain of one thing. Daddy is Grace, really our sister. Yes, he says, kneeling to their level. She is, and I'm sorry it took so long for you to meet her. Can she come to dinner tonight? His youngest asks. Grace smiles through tears. I'd like that. As we leave together, Sarah, Grace, Bradley, and his children, Mark, Emma, and I, the church behind us buzzes with scandal and revelation. By tomorrow, the whole town will know. The secret that shaped 20 years of our lives is finally irrevocably public. How do you feel? I ask Sarah as we reach the parking lot. Free, she says, rain mixing with tears on her face. Finally, completely free. Emma tugs my hand. Did we tell the big truth? We did, baby. Good. Can we get ice cream now? The simple request breaks our tension. We laugh, all of us standing in the rain outside the church, where our family's darkest secret was finally brought to light. Ice cream sounds perfect, Sarah agrees. As we caravan to the ice cream shop, 2 decades of separated family finally together, I realize this is what victory looks like. Not revenge or destruction, but truth. Messy, painful, liberating truth. And ice cream. Because even earth-shattering revelations can't compete with a 7-year-old's priorities. The ice cream shop buzzes with normal Sunday afternoon energy, a stark contrast to the earthquake we just created at St. Mary's. Our strange extended family fills 3 pushed-together tables, Sarah and Grace Bradley with his 3 children, Mark and Emma and me. Other patrons glance our way, some recognizing us from church whispers, already starting to spread. Emma and her newly discovered cousins compare flavors and toppings, blissfully focused on the important matter of sprinkles versus hot fudge. Grace helps the youngest, showing the same patient care that will make her an excellent doctor. "My phone won't stop buzzing," Bradley says quietly, silencing it for the 10th time. "Father, mother, business associates. The news is traveling fast." "Mine too," I admit. "Mostly people from church asking if it's true." "What are you telling them?" "Nothing yet. The truth spoke for itself." Sarah hasn't touched her ice cream, lost in thought. When she finally speaks, her voice carries 2 decades of exhaustion. "I keep waiting to regret it, standing up there exposing everything. But all I feel is relief." "You were magnificent," Grace tells her mother. 20 years of carrying that alone, and you stood up there with such strength." "Not alone," Sarah corrects, looking at me. "I had you. Even when we were apart, knowing you existed somewhere kept me going." Before I can respond, the shop door chimes. Pastor Williams enters, still in his church robes, looking haggard. He spots us immediately and approaches with visible trepidation. "May I?" He gestures to an empty chair. Sarah nods slowly. He sits heavily, looking every one of his 60-odd years. "I owe you all an apology, especially you, Sarah, and you, Grace." "We're not looking for apologies," Sarah says evenly. "We're past that. Nevertheless, I need to say it. I failed in my duty as a spiritual leader. I knew the truth and chose silence, chose donations over justice. That's not the man I promised God I'd be." "Then why?" Grace asks with her characteristic directness. "Why stay quiet for 10 years? Pastor Williams stares at his clasped hands. "Fear. Cowardice. Your grandparents' donations funded our youth programs, our food pantry, our building repairs. I told myself I was protecting the greater good, but really I was protecting my comfortable position." "And now," Sarah prompts, "now I've tendered my resignation. The church board will meet tonight, but regardless of their decision, I can't continue leading when I've failed so fundamentally to live the values I preach." The weight of consequences ripples outward. My parents' reputation, the Morrison empire, now the church leadership, all crumbling under the weight of hidden truth. "I don't want your resignation," Sarah says finally. "I want your voice. Use your platform to talk about how easy it is to choose comfort over courage, how good people can do terrible things when they prioritize appearance over authenticity. Make our pain mean something." Pastor Williams nods slowly. "I will. Every Sunday for as long as they'll let me speak." He stands to leave, then pauses. "Your parents are at the church still. In my office. They're not well. Their choice." I say, surprising myself with the coldness in my voice. After he leaves Bradley's middle child, Sophie pipes up. "Daddy, why were those people mad at church? Did we do something bad?" Bradley looks to Grace, silently asking permission to explain. She nods. "No, sweetheart. We told the truth about something that happened a long time ago. Sometimes people get upset when secrets come out, but telling truth is never bad." "Like when I told Mom about the vase," his youngest Marcus asks. "Exactly like that." Bradley agrees, and despite everything, we all smile, remembering how Marcus had confessed to breaking his mother's favorite vase after weeks of guilty silence. "So Grace is our sister, like you said, for real," Sophie continues. "For real," Grace confirms. "I've been your sister all along. We just didn't know each other." "That's sad," the oldest James observes with preteen wisdom. "But at least we know now." "At least we know now," Sarah echoes softly. Mark, who's been quietly supportive throughout, finally speaks. "So what happens next?" "Practically speaking, it's the question we've all been avoiding. The emotional catharsis of truth-telling is one thing. Navigating the aftermath is another. I have work tomorrow, Sarah says. 12-hour shift. Life doesn't stop for family drama. I have classes, Grace adds. Anatomy exam Wednesday. School. I contribute. 24 third graders who need to learn division. The mundane responsibilities feel both jarring and grounding after the morning's dramatics. But different. Bradley insists. We do all that, but different. Together. No more secrets. No more separate lives. Sunday dinners. Emma suggests hopefully. All of us, Sarah confirms. We're working out logistics. Whose house, what time, who cooks. When my phone rings. The church number. Against my better judgment, I answer. Cassidy. My mother's voice is raw, broken. Please, we're at the church. Can you come, both of you? I look at Sarah, who can hear the desperation through the phone. Why should we? I ask. Because we're ready to tell you everything. No more lies, no more excuses. Just, please. Sarah takes the phone from me. Janet will come, but this is your last chance. One more lie, one more deflection, and we're done forever. Understood. Whatever our mother says makes Sarah's expression shift. She hangs up looking troubled. She's saying things about Tom Morrison, about contracts we don't know about, threats we never imagined. It could be another manipulation, I warn. Could be, but what if it's not? We arrange for Mark to take all the children to our house. Bradley insists on coming with us. My father's involved. I should hear this, too. The drive back to St. Mary's is silent, each of us lost in thought. The parking lot has mostly emptied, the congregation dispersed to spread today's scandal through town like wildfire. We find our parents in Pastor Williams' office looking smaller than I've ever seen them. My mother's perfect makeup is destroyed, my father's shoulders curved with defeat. Pastor Williams hovers nearby, having clearly stayed to mediate. You came, my mother breathes. Talk, Sarah commands, everything, now. My father pulls out a thick envelope from his jacket. His hands shake as he opens it. 3 months after we sent you away, Tom Morrison came to us with an expansion opportunity. The business was struggling. We had a mortgage debts. He offered partnership. We know this, I interrupt impatiently. No, he continues. You know what we told you. The truth is worse. He spreads papers on the desk. The partnership agreement had clauses, hidden ones we didn't fully understand until too late. Tom didn't just own 51% of the business. He owned us. Sarah examines the documents, her face paling. These aren't just business contracts. These are slavery papers. Bradley finishes reading over her shoulder. My father enslaved yours through legal manipulation. The contracts detail not just business arrangements, but personal obligations, maintaining the Coleman family reputation, preventing scandal, ensuring Morrison interests, and specifically keeping Sarah away from the Morrison name. Every year the terms got tighter, my mother continues. When Sarah tried to contact you at 13, Tom added clauses about mail monitoring. When she applied to colleges near home, suddenly there were geographic restrictions. You could have walked away, Sarah says coldly, declared bankruptcy, started over. With what? My father's laugh is bitter. He owned our house through shell companies, had liens on everything. One word from him, and we'd have been homeless, unemployed, unemployable. He made sure of that. So you chose comfort over children, I state flatly. We chose survival, my mother protests weakly. No different, Sarah counters. But there's more, my father says urgently. Last year, Tom came to us with a new contract. He's dying, pancreatic cancer. He wanted to ensure his legacy remained intact even after death. Bradley goes rigid. He never told me. He hasn't told anyone, but he's been putting affairs in order, including this. My father produces another document. He wanted us to sign over guardianship rights to Grace, posthumously, said she needed proper guidance when he passed. What? Sarah and Grace exclaim simultaneously. He knew about her all along, has been planning to claim her after death, Transform her from family shame to Morrison legacy, the brilliant granddaughter who overcame her origins. My father's disgust is evident. We refused. It was the first time in 20 years we said no to Tom Morrison. And Bradley prompts. And he activated every penalty clause, called in every debt. We're bankrupt as of tomorrow. The house goes to auction next month. The business dissolved Friday. My mother's voice is steady now, resolved. We've lost everything. When did this happen? I ask. 6 weeks ago, the day before Emma's birthday. We sent the dress because we knew it might be our last chance to give her something meaningful. We thought if you found the note, if Sarah reached out. She trails off. You gambled on that dress reuniting us so we'd help you. Sarah's voice rises. No. My mother insists. We hoped it would reunite you so you'd have each other. When Tom's plan succeeds, when he destroys us completely, we wanted you to have family. His plan won't succeed, Bradley says with quiet fury. He's not claiming Grace or any part of Sarah's life. I'll stop him. How, my father asks. He owns judges, lawyers, politicians. He's had 20 years to build his power. And I've had 1 week to understand what he is. Bradley responds. A monster who destroyed my family for pride, who let me believe my child died, who corrupted everyone he touched, including me. Bradley, Pastor Williams, interjects gently. Hate won't heal this. No, but justice might. He turns to Grace. What do you want? You're the one he's trying to claim. Grace stands 19 years old but carrying herself with authority that makes her seem older. I want him to face consequences, legal ones, 20 years of fraud, extortion, conspiracy. Nathan says there's enough for federal charges. You've discussed this with Nathan. Bradley seems surprised. He's been building a case since I turned 18, just in case. Grace looks at my parents. Did you know about the recordings Tom made, the ones where you discuss payment for keeping Sarah away? They nod miserably. Those recordings also capture Tom admitting to tax fraud, to bribing city officials for contracts, to destroying competitors through blackmail. Grace's smile is sharp. Your cooperation could ensure he spends his remaining years in prison rather than manipulating lives from his deathbed. You want us to testify against him, my father asks. I want you to tell the truth, Grace clarifies. Finally, completely, to federal investigators. We'll lose what little we have left, my mother says. You've already lost everything that matters, Sarah points out. Might as well do one right thing before the end. Silence stretches until my father breaks it. Yes, we'll testify, tell everything. Robert, my mother gasps. No, Janet. Grace is right. 20 years of complicity in his crimes. It ends now. He looks at us, his daughters, with eyes full of regret. We can't undo the past, can't earn forgiveness, but maybe we can prevent Tom from hurting anyone else. It's a start, Sarah says carefully. Not absolution, not forgiveness, but a start. What about us? My mother asks desperately. Our family. That's not your decision, I say firmly. You forfeited the right to call us family when you sold us for $30,000 a year. Now you get to live with consequences. But Emma, she starts, will know the truth age appropriately and make her own choices when she's older. Until then, you've lost the privilege of unsupervised access to any of our children. The finality of it breaks something in my mother. She sobs ugly and raw, the sound of someone facing the ruins of their choices. My father holds her, but his own tears fall silently. We should go, Sarah says. Grace has studying. I have work tomorrow. As we stand to leave, Pastor Williams speaks. I'll stay with them, help them process, connect them with counseling services. Thank you, I tell him, meaning it. At the door, my father calls out one last time. Cassidy, Sarah. We know it doesn't matter, but we love you. We've always loved you. We just loved our comfort more. Sarah turns back 20 years of pain in her voice. That's not love, Robert. That's possession. Learn the difference. We leave them there in the ruins of their choices, with only truth and consequences for company. Outside, the afternoon sun breaks through clouds, bathing everything in golden light. Feel different? Bradley asks. Cleaner, Sarah says, like 20 years of infection finally drained. What now? I ask. Now we live, Grace says simply, without secrets, without shame, just live. As we walk to our cars, Bradley's phone buzzes. He checks it and goes pale. My father. He knows about the FBI. He's coming here. A black town car pulls into the parking lot before any of us can react. Tom Morrison emerges looking nothing like the powerful man who's controlled our lives. Cancer has carved him hollow, left him swimming in an expensive suit, but his eyes burn with the same cruel intelligence. Well, he says, voice still commanding despite his frailty. Quite the performance this morning. Very dramatic, very public, very stupid. Go home, Tom, Bradley says. It's over. Over. Tom laughs a sound like grinding glass. Boy, I've been destroying lives since before you were born. This isn't over until I say it is. He turns to Grace and his expression shifts to something almost tender. Grace, my brilliant granddaughter, you don't need to align yourself with these people. I can give you everything. The best medical schools, residencies at top hospitals, a future worthy of your gifts. I don't want anything from you, Grace says clearly. You will. When federal investigations freeze your mother's accounts, when your college fund disappears, when doors close because the Morrison name opposes you. He smiles coldly. I have 6 months to live. I'll spend every day ensuring you all regret this morning. No. Bradley steps between Tom and Grace. You won't, because I'll spend every day ensuring you face justice for what you've done. You, Tom scoffs. You're weak, always have been. Couldn't even stand up for your teenage girlfriend. You're right. I was weak, but watching you taught me strength. The strength to choose family over fear, truth over comfort, love over legacy. Touching. Meaningless, but touching. Tom starts coughing harsh and wet. When he recovers, blood flecks his lips. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Neither do you, Sarah interjects. You've never faced us united, never had to fight people who have nothing left to lose and everything to gain. We'll see. He moves toward his car, then turns back. Janet Robert, I know you're in there. Your bankruptcy filing has been accelerated. You have 24 hours to vacate the premises. Welcome to the consequences of betrayal. He leaves us standing there, the weight of his threats settling like ash. But something has shifted. The fear that controlled my parents for 20 years doesn't touch us the same way. He's dying, Grace observes clinically. The blood suggests advanced metastasis. He has less than 6 months. 6 months to cause damage, Bradley warns. Or 6 months for us to build something he can't destroy, Sarah counters. Together. I ask, looking at this strange, broken, healing family. Together, they confirm. As Tom Morrison's car disappears into traffic, we stand in the church parking lot. Sisters reunited. Father reconciling daughter, finally known. Not the family any of us planned, but the one forged in truth's fire. It's enough. It's more than enough. It's everything. 6 months later, I stand in Sarah's garden watching our daughters play. The afternoon sun casts long shadows through roses that bloom despite the approaching autumn. Emma and Grace have created an elaborate fairy garden in the corner, complete with tiny houses and winding paths. Grace's siblings, she calls them that now naturally and without qualification, help arrange pebble walkways while debating the proper architecture for fairy infrastructure. More butterflies over here, Emma directs, pointing to where she wants ceramic decorations placed. She's grown 3 inches since that February morning when a pink dress changed everything. Her confidence has bloomed alongside her height, nurtured by the extended family she always wanted. Mark and Bradley work on installing a swing set, their easy cooperation still surprising me. Who would have thought the golden boy who broke my sister's heart could become someone we trust with our children's laughter? "Pass me that wrench," Bradley asks, and Mark obliges, their conversation flowing between assembly instructions and weekend plans. Bradley's divorce finalized 2 months ago, but he seems lighter for it. His ex-wife, initially furious about the hidden daughter, eventually came to accept Grace. Now she sends birthday cards and includes her in family photos. Sarah emerges from the house carrying a tray of lemonade Grace behind her with cookies they baked this morning. It's become our Saturday tradition. All of us together, no agenda except presents. Tom's funeral was yesterday. Bradley mentions quietly as we adults gather on the deck. He'd gone alone despite our offers of support. Sparse attendance. Seems 20 years of cruelty doesn't inspire much mourning. "Did he ever contact you again after that day at the church?" I ask. His lawyers did, 3 times, each offer more desperate than the last. He died knowing Grace wanted nothing from him. Bradley's smile is sad but satisfied. His empire's in ruins. The FBI investigation revealed decades of corruption. Most of his assets are frozen pending litigation. And our parents? Sarah asks, though we already know the answer. Still in the apartment above the Miller's garage. Dad works at Home Depot. Mom cleans houses. I try not to feel satisfaction at their fall, but it's hard. Pastor Williams says they attend counseling faithfully. Good for them, Sarah says, meaning it. She's always been better at forgiveness than me. We haven't seen them since that awful day at the church. They've respected our boundaries, communicating only through Pastor Williams when necessary. He tells us they're different now, humbled, working to understand the damage they caused. Maybe someday that will matter. Not yet. I have news, Grace announces, waiting until all eyes are on her. MIT Medical School, full scholarship starting next fall. The celebration erupts immediately. Sarah cries. Bradley beams with pride he's still learning he's allowed to feel. The younger children cheer without fully understanding, but knowing it's important. That's incredible, sweetheart. Sarah manages through tears. All your hard work. Our work, Grace corrects. I couldn't have done this without you, without all of you. It's true in ways both practical and profound. The last 6 months have been a masterclass in what family can be when built on truth instead of lies. Grace studied for the MCAT with Emma reading picture books beside her. Bradley drove her to interviews, nervous but present. I helped with essays while Sarah worked night shifts to keep their bills paid. There's something else, Grace continues, suddenly shy. I've been accepted to the MD-JD joint program, medical degree and law degree simultaneously. Like mother's daughter, Bradley laughs, taking on the world from every angle. Someone needs to understand both sides, Grace says seriously. The medical system fails vulnerable mothers. The legal system enables family destruction. I want to fix both. That's a lot, Sarah says carefully. 8 years of intensive study. I know, but Aunt Cassidy always says I can be anything, so why not everything? Emma abandons the fairy garden to hug her cousin. You'll be the best doctor-lawyer ever. Can you fix broken hearts and broken families? I'll try, Grace promises solemnly. As afternoon fades to evening, we migrate inside for dinner. It's chaotic with 7 children ranging from Emma's 7 to Grace's 20, but it's our chaos. Bradley's kids have stopped calling Grace their half-sister understanding, instinctively that half measures have no place in our rebuilt family. I'm thinking of writing a book. I announce over dessert, surprising myself with the admission. About teaching, Mark asks supportively. About us. About secrets and sisters and the price of lies. I look at Sarah. If that's okay. Will it help other families, she asks. Maybe, or maybe it'll just help me understand our own. Then write it, she says simply. Truth deserves to be told. After dinner, as we clear dishes and referee children's negotiations over movie choices, my phone buzzes. An unknown number, but the message makes me freeze. Cassidy, I know I have no right to contact you, but your mother is in the hospital, heart attack. She's asking for you and Sarah. Just thought you should know. Dad. I show Sarah, who reads it twice before responding. What do you want to do? I don't know. Do we owe them anything? We owe them nothing, Bradley interjects, having read over our shoulders. But you might owe yourselves the chance to decide how this ends. Grace joins us instantly, reading the room. Grandma. We nod. You should go, she says quietly. Not for them, for you. Unfinished business festers. An hour later, Sarah and I stand outside Mercy General's cardiac unit. We've left the children with Mark and Bradley approaching this together, as we should have been allowed to 20 years ago. Our father waits in the hallway, aged a decade and 6 months. He rises when he sees us, but doesn't approach, respecting the distance we've maintained. Thank you for coming, he says simply. I wasn't sure you would. We're not here for you, Sarah clarifies. How is she? Stable. Triple bypass tomorrow. Good prognosis if... He trails off. If she survives surgery, if her broken heart can be repaired, if medicine can fix what cruelty broke. We enter her room together. The woman in the bed bears little resemblance to the perfectly coiffed mother who accepted honors for compassion she never showed. This woman is small, gray, diminished. Monitors beep steadily, tracking the heart that failed her, as surely as she failed us. Her eyes open when we approach. You came, she whispers. We came, I confirm, offering nothing more. I dream about her, she says unexpectedly. The baby I sent away, she cries, and I can't reach her. Her name is Grace, Sarah says evenly. She's 20, pre-med at MIT, brilliant and kind despite everything. Grace, our mother tests the name. I wanted to know her so badly, but the price was your choice, I remind her, every day for 20 years. I know. God, I know. Tears track down her cheeks. I've lost everything. My daughters, my granddaughters, my home, my health, and I earned every loss. Yes, Sarah agrees. You did. The honesty seems to steady her. I don't want forgiveness. I know better than to ask, but I need you to know. The love was real, twisted and poisoned by fear, but real. Love without action is just manipulation. I say, quoting something Grace said weeks ago. Yes, she agrees. I see that now. We stay for an hour, not out of obligation, but out of something harder to name. The need to witness the end of something that defined us for so long. When visiting hours end, she's sleeping sedated for tomorrow's surgery. In the hallway, our father waits. Will you come back after the surgery? We'll see, Sarah says, which is more than he deserves and less than he hopes. I'll call with updates, he promises. Thank you for coming, for letting me contact you. We leave without promises, driving home in contemplative silence. The hospital fades behind us, but the questions linger. Do you think she meant it? I finally ask. About understanding what she did. Does it matter? Sarah responds. Their understanding doesn't undo 20 years, doesn't give us back what we lost. But we didn't lose, I realize. Not ultimately. We found each other, found truth, built something better than what they destroyed. The girls did that. Sarah smiles. Emma with her innocent questions. Grace with her courage. They saved us. We saved each other, I correct. Back at Sarah's house, we find controlled chaos. Mark and Bradley have surrendered to the children's energy, the living room transformed into a blanket fort, spanning multiple couches. Grace reads medical journals by flashlight, while the younger kids tell ghost stories. How was it? Mark asks quietly. Necessary. I answer, which seems to cover it. Grandma's sick, Emma asks, emerging from the fort with concern on her face. Yes, baby, she needs surgery tomorrow. Emma considers this. Should we send a card? Mrs. Peterson says cards help sick people feel better. I look at Sarah, who shrugs. Why not? Kindness costs nothing, even for those who showed us none. We can make cards, Grace offers. All of us, not forgiveness, just human decency. So that's what we do. 7 children and 4 adults crafting get-well cards at the kitchen table. Simple messages, nothing false or forced. Emma draws butterflies. Grace writes a careful message about hoping for healing. Bradley helps his youngest with glitter that will haunt Sarah's kitchen for weeks. It's not forgiveness. It's not absolution. But it's something. A grace note at the end of a symphony of pain. "I've been thinking," Bradley says as we work, "about Thanksgiving. It's coming up and I'd like to host, all of us, start new traditions." "You cook," Sarah teases. "I'm learning. YouTube University." He grins, looking years younger. Besides, it's not about the food, it's about family. Real family. Chosen family. "I like that," Grace says. Chosen family. People who show up because they want to, not because they have to. "Then it's settled," I declare. "Thanksgiving at Bradley's, our first official holiday as whatever we are." "Family," Emma states firmly. "We're family. The real kind." Later, as Mark and I prepare to leave with Emma, Sarah pulls me aside. "I'm proud of us," she says quietly, "for surviving, for finding our way back, for raising daughters who are so much braver than we were. They're brave because you were," I tell her, "you fought for Grace when everyone told you not to. That courage echoes." It echoes in Emma, too, in her questions that started all this, in her acceptance of messy, complicated truth. We hug 20 years of lost embraces in one moment. "I love you," I tell her. "I love you too, always did, even when I couldn't say it." As we drive home, Emma chatters about the fairy garden and her cousins and the upcoming Thanksgiving. In the rearview mirror, I see her clutching the Get Well card she made for my mother. Butterflies cover every inch bright and hopeful. "Mommy," she asks, "do you think families can get better? Like when people are sick, but then they heal?" "Sometimes," I answer honestly, "with a lot of work and truth and time. Sometimes families can heal." "Good," she says decisively. "Then maybe someday Grandma and Grandpa can come to Thanksgiving too, when they're all better." Maybe. I agree, though I can't imagine that day. But then 6 months ago, I couldn't imagine any of this. Couldn't imagine Sarah in my daily life. Couldn't imagine Grace calling me Aunt Cassidy. Couldn't imagine Bradley as someone I trust. Couldn't imagine my parents' empire crumbling, or Tom Morrison's death, or federal investigations, or public truth. Life has taught me that unimaginable things happen all the time. Sometimes they're terrible secrets hidden for decades. Sometimes they're pink dresses with notes that change everything. Sometimes they're second chances you never thought you'd get. The butterfly card flutters in Emma's hands as she hums to herself, and I think about transformation. How caterpillars dissolve completely before becoming something new. How nothing of the old structure remains, but somehow the essential self continues. Maybe that's what we are now, transformed. The family we were meant to be emerging after 20 years in chrysalis of lies. Different than we would have been without the breaking but beautiful in our rebuilt truth. "We're home," Mark announces, pulling into our driveway. Home. Where photos now include Sarah and Grace, where Sunday dinners stretch to accommodate chosen family, where truth lives alongside love, and both are stronger for the company. "Can Grace come over tomorrow?" Emma asks. "She promised to teach me about how bodies work." "Of course," I say. "Family is always welcome." As we settle in for the night, I think about the book I want to write, about the first line that's been echoing in my head since that February morning. Some gifts come wrapped in time-zone paper, waiting decades to be opened. Tomorrow, my mother will have surgery. My father will sit alone in a waiting room he earned with his choices. Sarah will work her shift, saving other people's children with the competence born of necessity. Grace will study building a future on foundations of truth. Emma will ask 1,000 questions, each one a small revolution against secrets. And somewhere in a box of memories, a pink dress hangs in Emma's closet. Sometimes she wears it for dress-up spinning like her aunt did at 12, like her cousin never could. The note that started everything is framed. Now Sarah's young handwriting preserved behind glass. "If you're reading this, they finally gave you my dress. I'm so sorry for what they did to you, Cassidy. Please forgive me." I did forgive her. instantly, completely. Forgiving ourselves for the years we lost the lies we believed, the family we almost let slip away. That's harder, but we're working on it one truth at a time. The last thing I do before sleep is check my phone. A message from Sarah. Thank you for today, for every day, for not giving up on us. Never, I text back. Not then, not now, not ever. And I mean it. Family, real family, doesn't end with secrets or silence or 20 years of separation. It endures, waits, transforms. It begins again with a pink dress and a whispered question, what is this, mommy? This is truth. This is love. This is family. This is our beginning, 20 years in the making. If you've experienced family secrets or forced separation from loved ones, you're not alone. Truth has a way of surfacing even after decades. Sometimes, the most painful revelations lead to the most beautiful resurrections. What family secrets have shaped your life? Have you found the courage to seek truth even when it meant losing comfort? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more stories about families rebuilding from truth. And if you know someone carrying the weight of family secrets, share this story with them. Sometimes knowing others have walked this path makes our own journey feel less lonely. Thank you for joining Cassidy, Sarah Grace, and Emma on their journey from secrets to truth. May your own path lead to the family you choose, the love you deserve, and the freedom that comes from living authentically. Remember, it's never too late for truth to set you free. Until next time, choose courage over comfort, truth over tradition, and love over lies.